That beat is hard.
I know, right? I like it. It's good. It's good. What are we talking about today, Pop?
Man,
Garbage is what we're talking about today.
we're talking about some garbage today. We're going to be discussing racism, sexism, and toxicity in the gaming community. It's a damn shame, but we can't act like it's not real, like it doesn't exist, like we don't hear it and see it every time we log on.
Or even before you log on. It happens in Discord communities. It happens across forums every day. I mean, it's not even just in particularly gaming, like the online gaming, but it's everywhere and anywhere gaming and like a social media can even reach. It's unbelievable. I don't understand it. So, it is what it is. So, I mean, really, first off, what we should talk about is, this shit's wrong. Knock it off. Okay? Knock it off. Anyway, let me just be real with you for a minute. Tonight's podcast really stemmed because, Professor and I, we had an issue on playing Rogue Company. Pop-Tart and In Decay was at a part where a fellow streamer had some people come in and just do the most god-awful things you could do to an up-and-coming streamer, anybody that's live. Just, I'd really like to know the psychology behind it. You know what I mean? Like, I guess because I'm not a person like that, I guess I just don't understand why.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think, we could try to dissect it, try to figure it out. I think it's a combination of immaturity, anonymity, and really no repercussions.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier, right? When we were in pre-show, it's not like you can't walk outside. Oh, there we go. Exactly, buddy. Exactly. So it's not like you can walk outside, walk 10 streets down, and see the dude that just called you a bad word and be like, let's figure this out like men. You know what I mean? It's not like you can just do that anymore. I mean, we're talking across state, across country, across the world. People are doing this to other people, and it's appalling. Like, Odin, first off, buddy, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. And if I can assist in any way, well, I'm just saying, if I can assist in any way in helping you, like, secure Discord or anything else like that, or do America things, because I'm about to do America things, and I'm going to talk to you guys about it a little bit later in the show. But, from brother to brother, and, everybody else that's like Pop-Tart and Decay were bore witness to it. It's wrong. I don't understand it.
I mean,
yeah, I'll be setting up my Discord a little bit more securely now. I've never had the issue of that before, but yeah, man, people are trash.
So because I wasn't there, was this something that happened in game, and then they just looked you up to see if you were a streamer, and then typed in the tagline for usually what everybody else is Twitch and Discord, and jumped in your Discord?
I don't think that was the case. I think it was just a random nobody that was trying to be a somebody in their own mind. But it was
still like somebody from your chat, because how else would they get you?
I mean, they found my channel, but I don't think it was somebody that I killed in the game.
Okay.
There's no way to prove it if it was anyway, so it's not a big deal on that. But yeah, I had a few friends help jump in, help me out, try to get it sorted, and I had my mods in chat handling it, but it was just ridiculous.
I mean, imagine if you were just a new streamer, whether a young streamer, a female streamer, however you choose to identify streamer. I mean, imagine if you just started this solo and didn't have anybody to help you because, you didn't build up a community like that yet. Like, how much would this not only affect your ability to do what you do, but then affect you in real life and have to now log off and process what happened?
So here's my thing, and it's going to sound really callous. If you can't handle stuff like that mentally, then you have no business streaming. because it's not going to be a one-time thing. It's not going to be a brand new to streaming or been doing this for 10 years kind of thing. So, I mean, if that's going to be an issue for somebody, then it's probably not something they want to look into. You know what I mean?
Right. I feel you. I respect your decision. My only concern with that is the thinking of the people that are homeschooled that aren't privy to such thing, and they moved out on their own, and then they start into this world thinking it's cool, and then it happens. I ask questions like that for people like that.
No, I hear you.
The sheltered. Us, we're good. Like we can handle it.
Yeah.
You know, we can take it and roll off. It's sad that we have to subject our communities potentially to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what pissed me off the most is I had to sit there and apologize to everyone that was in stream while I was trying to figure everything out and stop it. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. Like, this world has gone to trash, and it's because this world is primarily online now. I think you guys were starting on that point right when I came in. Like back in my day, if you wanted to be disrespectful, you got to do it to my face.
Or at least over the telephone. And somehow they had to get your number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like nowadays where you can reach out and hurt somebody with just the font, really, with just font in the most trivial sense.
I think that go ahead, Pop.
No, you got it. Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say, I think the internet also, it's not just a like I can't see you face to face thing and being anonymous. I think part of it is also the internet has now devolved into these communities that are bringing the worst people together.
Yeah.
They share the same ideas, and that's actually strengthening them. So it's making them more brazen. Because you're not only seeing this on the internet, you're also seeing it in real life. Like you're, maybe not as bold and brash, but you're seeing events that people are, not as afraid to do this in person, on TV, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You basically stated it as you gave a voice, an anonymous voice to the voiceless. Yep. And then people just either people run with it and do positive things, or people take it and use it for the negative. And of course, we don't usually hear too much about the positive. We only see social media, and we only see the news, and we only see everything else talking about the negative side of things. Where you could take this anonymity, like Twitch is. Like I started Twitch as like a healing thing. Like I wanted people to come in and just have that anonymity to just chill and chat. Where if you use it to troll and meme, that's cool too, because that's still not a hardcore negative. But if you use it in a way where you're going to disrupt somebody's life and livelihood, like look, all the people that had all the streamers that had their houses broken into, swatted, food ordered to their house, doxed, all this stuff. Like what really causes, like, are people just feeling so hurt inside that they feel they had to hurt others to make themselves feel better? Is it almost like the start of that, or
go ahead.
I would say it's a disconnect from parenting, hands down.
Okay. Yep.
A lot more parents are letting YouTube and Nickelodeon do the teaching.
Fuck, man. I literally was just talking about that before. I was like, this is the tool. This is it. This is how they learn. This is their learning tool now. This is society's learning tool. This is how they learn about anything and everything, good, bad, indifferent, and otherwise, is learned through this. Yeah. And I don't mean just a cell phone, but I mean just technology in general. That,
in connection with an absentee parent, is destroying the children.
Because most of the schooling for even my son who's in kindergarten is done online, not necessarily online, but through a tablet, through technology. So even when he's at school, it's done through technology.
Well, no, I'm not saying that technology is bad. I'm saying that these people are letting their kid jump on YouTube with no supervision, watch whatever they want, and then they find things like, dude clipped my channel when he did that to me. I deleted them right away. I deleted the VOD right away. Why? Because now that's access. Now they can clip it, put it wherever they want, put it on some trolling streamer clips on YouTube, and now some kid gets it. He thinks it's funny, grows up thinking it's funny. His parents aren't paying attention to what he's watching, and then you spawn another little bullshit troll. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then there's other things on there, other content on there that is just downright racist, hate-filled, violent, and the mom and dad are what? Sipping wine, watching HBO, while or Skinamax while their kid is doing all this shit.
It could be. So like Pop-Tart and Professor and I, we were talking in the pre-show. I said, and I'm going to give an example of this, and it's actually me. So in growing up, kids without their father, let's say, or without their mother, because the father could be distant because he doesn't want to deal with the kid, and the mother's either gone because she's a potential drug addict or just disconnected from life. So the father had to take over, or, the mother's out there working, single mother, busting her ass at 3 jobs to provide for her kid. And the father might not want to be any part of their life. So that disconnect that you're stating can be, because if the mom or the dad is too busy working to provide for the kid, that absence is going to be found through technology. And I agree that that's where that comes from, what you're talking about, because I used to be like very racist. Like very, and almost to the point where like I never acted on it violently. I was just very judgmental. Okay. I was very judgmental. And then I ended up getting befriended, and then not ignorantly brought to light, but just through hours of conversing, because to me, that was my outlet for my anger of going through my life, was projecting it on others, because it made me feel good that I wasn't just the only one being beaten down. Right.
Yeah.
And then through education, I understood that what I'm doing is wrong, and I vowed to never be like that again. The difference now is kids are going viral with these ignorant videos and getting all this publicity and all these likes and follows and shares, where now they understand, they think, oh, this is funny. If I can do this more, I might be able to make money off this, but they don't realize how much they're destroying behind them.
I mean, to that point, we have a complete person who spawned a music career from being a jackass child, ending up on the Dr. Phil show and saying "Catch Me Outside." You know what I mean? Like, that is crazy. Like, this is what our children are subjected to. And that's, a false narrative of what it is to be successful. Go viral, say something stupid, like say something. It's just, and what pissed me off about what happened to my brother Odin, is it's multiple fold, right? One, it's weird. It's weird it happened. 2, we don't know who's in the chat, how old or young they are, how impressionable they are. 3, that was good content that had to get trashed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, it pisses me off because one, it happened to a I'm not even say a friend, like a brother of mine. And then 2, it's just like, well, what, the silence was what killed me. It was just so awkward afterwards. And then there's no repercussions for those clowns.
Yeah, there's none. The only repercussion they're going to get is the fact that they're now banned from that Discord or whatever, and they just have to find another slum to deal. But yeah, Jack. So there is. I agree with you. A difference between racism, segregation, and prejudice. I was just trying to summarize a small factor of what I'm going through. But yes, I agree completely. That's why we're talking about other things like sexism and understanding. Like, we were literally talking about, you'll be in a game that has voice chat, and you'll hear a girl talk, and then she's immediately berated because she's a girl gamer in a room full of, I only say dudes because 9 times out of 10 it's full of males, and they don't even, like Pop-Tart, you were saying, they don't even know how to communicate, let alone communicate to women.
And there's the males that are harassing her. So
yeah,
it's not other female gamers, you know, the girls aren't the ones speaking up and making her feel uncomfortable. So it's the men in the room that are making things difficult for her.
Just, you know, want to just find the root of like what's inside of a person, right? That can make you say some real vile shit like that. Because I've been in like I used to be really big into Rainbow Six, right? Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
It was I'm gonna get there. Just like I you know, I wasn't with Tarkov. Now I'm with it. But
yes, come to the dark side.
I have to thank Decay and Odin for that one. But you know, I was in a match, and you just hear a female speak just to give a call out, and everybody except for the Pop-Tart, because I have some kind of decency within me, just divulge into just being mongoloids. You're like, bro, we were just having a casual conversation, and all of a sudden you can't speak English. Like, what just happened? Just fucking nuts.
Girl must find smack dragon cave.
Like,
yeah,
on, bro.
And it's sad. You know, it's.
I mean, I feel part of that is it's sort of the culture of like take your shot, but people take it very much to the extreme, right? It's like I gotta hit this girl up, and then if she says no, I gotta like keep pressing. It's like, do you really want to be disturbed doing the things you love? Like, you're trying to relax after work. Do you really want like work bugging you while you're trying to game? Like, she doesn't really want to be harassed while she's trying to relaxing.
I was brought up, like, I made my mistake in my younger years, but I was always brought up to respect people for who they are, not who they portray to be. If you understand the difference of what I'm saying is, you know, you can portray to be happy and awesome and amazing like I do, but I still have a lot of IRL stuff that is just breaking my back. You know, like I've been in multiple games, multiple Discord lobbies. Like, I actually was in this one Discord lobby and I cussed this little kid out, and I'm not proud for it, but I went man on him. Now hear me out though. Hear me out. Okay. For me, suicide is a huge no-no subject to talk about, unless we're talking about like preventing it or acknowledging that it exists and how to recognize certain characteristics of people to try to identify things, you know. And I was in this Discord, and this young kid came in, and he said something, and then somebody else reverted a response back, and he said, "You should just go kill yourself." And I immediately, like, honestly, if I was sitting next to him, I probably would have beat him into ICU. I would have taken that hit. But I cussed him out, and I asked him a legitimate question. I said, what would happen? Okay. What would happen if that kid went home and killed himself that day? How could you live with yourself thinking that, oh, it was so funny. Oh, it was just for the memes. It was just for the laughs. But that was that last straw, that last hope that kid had, was playing video games with his friends, and you just took it from him or her, anybody, however you identify. It took it from you. And then now there's two grieving parents.
You know what? And the way you just put that, and I'm gonna keep it a whole 100, because Paul over here, that's Paul the Panda, y'all. Paul just whispered. He said,
"Hi, Paul.
With the way things are going, that kid probably wouldn't give two shits. He just
agree. I agree completely. But when you have somebody directly ask you a question that you weren't prepared for, I'm hoping that I impacted his brain even for the slightest second to make some kind of neuron, pathic, whatever, click in his head, and hopefully maybe later on at a moment in time when it creates a seed that turns into a flower, that he realizes maybe, you know, don't be like that."
I mean, I felt this relates to the entire topic, which is, I mean, you can blame absentee parenting and stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, like, I was raised by a single mother. I was talking to Pop about this. Like, my dad was not there. You know, it was not a great life. My escape was gaming and online. Like, yeah, you could say I learned some stuff from online. You could say my mom taught it to me, but like, I feel a big part of what's missing today is just like the idea of like empathy, and this idea of like, you have to put yourself where that person is. Like what you're saying, like, in your example, like you're saying it, oh, it's just for the memes. But like, if you actually put yourself in that person's shoes, right? Like then you go, oh, that's not really funny. And I feel like that's a very big part that's missing. And as like an example of this, like, racism isn't just like a new thing. It's like my grandfather was super racist growing up. I didn't pick it up. And like, it's not because I was taught not to be racist. Like, if I followed his example, I'd be super racist. It's the fact that the values instilled were, be empathetic, think about what you say and try to put yourself in their shoes. You're not going to always be able to do that. You may not have the same experience. You may not have the ability to have the same experience, but if you can at least try, you'll at least get close to understanding how they feel when they go through it, whatever, something.
I don't think I agree
event.
with you, Decay, but I don't think people that do this give a shit about trying.
Oh no. And I'm
100% with you.
I'm saying the failure is at some way it was, either their parents failed or, they felt bullied and just felt like their only response was to bully other people, whatever it was. They never learned to sort of put themselves in someone else's shoes. They just were, selfish.
Yeah. It comes down to a choice, and like what Jack says about self-accountability.
Yeah.
Here's a question, Pop-Tart. I will address this whole panel here, and y'all can answer it if you will, if you want to, rather. So if you're at an age where you should be accountable for yourself, and I'm considering that like teenager, like at least 12, 13, with your actions and the way you speak, you should be able to be held accountable from yourself towards how you act. If you can't be accountable for your good or bad decisions, how are you ever going to be accountable for raising a child, growing up? If you're already letting yourself down, how can you even move forward through society?
But where's the bar? You know what I mean? What constitutes letting yourself down? Some people's view on life is so skewed that us as like all of us could agree, but the way they're looking at it is like, oh, what I'm doing is right. Like, because we all know that one person that still in our lives that just live their life with no regrets, no abandon, no second thoughts, and you're just like, how are you still alive? You know what I mean? But there's like, for me, I just feel like there's no excuse, especially with all the available information, all the interesting people. Like we were having this conversation with me and NDK. I was like, how can you just, marginalize an entire group of people, right? And feel comfortable enough going outside, going to Walmart. You know what I mean? Like, bro, how do you live? I don't understand that, And when it comes down to it, like, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but, Hot Tar's black. You know what I'm saying? Not once have I ever thought, man, I'm going to stay away from that guy because he's white. He probably hates me or this, that, and the third. Never. You want to know why? Because I form my own opinion. I do my own thing. I let your actions dictate how I treat you, how I feel about you. I will never look at you and go, well, he's probably racist. Like, that's crazy. Or it's just, I don't understand it. Like, and I never will, but I'm not ever going to sit here and try to figure out like why people do that. I just think they're weird. It's just like, fam, you're weird.
Talk about dropping big knowledge of cognitive reasoning. John, man, I appreciate you and everything that you're dropping in here in chat, buddy. I appreciate your thought processes and how you're breaking this down to its most simplistic form, and based off of like logistical data as opposed to opinion. Because a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is our opinion, where, I agree with you. Cognitive reasoning and the ability to reason between what's right and wrong, like Potsdam, like you said, it can be skewed. I mean, look at somebody that's ever just let's say grew up in a house that was very religious, very beat down upon, very scolded numerously just for the most innocent thought, and now you're free from the world. 9 times out of 10, they're going to act out because they never understood the real, I don't want to say the real right and wrong, but the balance of right and wrong. Let's say they've only known wrong because 9 times out of 10, whatever they were doing wasn't right enough for their parents. So like you said, their view is skewed to one side of a spectrum or another. It's so many different factors to deal with. It's sad that society, like you said, it all comes down to accountability. It's not like I could tell that kid in chat, I told him what I told him, and there was admins in there, and this was in a Discord community, and he pulled him to the side into a private chat and said, if you're going to keep talking like this, we're going to kick you out on this behalf, and this is why. And the kid threw an attitude, and we booted him. Like, he didn't even realize. He's like, oh, I was just kidding. I was just making fun. Dude, you can't even say stuff like that kidding. Like, I've had best friends. I've had my grandfather take their life because they just didn't want to live through certain factors of what was going on in their world. And you're just making light of it like it's okay. It's a joke to go, oh, just go kill yourself. You'll be fine. Like, dude, I'm legitimately be thankful I can't find you. Because I'll let you know what it feels to be alive, buddy.
It's just one of those things. I think. The word racism is continuously what we say matters. Like literally, yeah.
People use the word racism even though they're being prejudiced to the orange man. You know what I mean? Like, but they'll call it racism, right? They'll say, oh, well, this person doesn't like this, so he's a racist. Well, no, he's just prejudiced. Or he's being misogynistic, or he's being a sexist. You know what I mean? But they'll flowchart everything over that one word because they know that one word is stigmatic, and everybody knows what that one word is. So it becomes like a flash fire.
Still wouldn't want to be listed as a sexist either, though.
I agree. No, but what I'm
no, I get it. You're saying people need to start understanding there's levels to this shit and actual meanings to the proper words, the terms that you're trying to throw on people. You know, you can't educate somebody if you're calling them the wrong thing. You know what I mean? It's
just like in the news. Whether you're for or against Trump or Biden or political views and values, I appreciate everything, and y'all have your own opinion on the matter, right? But when you get some social justice warrior, we'll say, or just some person speaking their opinion and calling one person a name with literal no proof of them being that, you're the one that's actually pretty much breaking what you're trying to stand up for. And I don't think anybody's created that accountability for that. Appreciate that sub, Carnage. Appreciate you, buddy. People get on people all the time because, I mean, dude, let's put it this way, Potart and Professor and Indicate and Odin. How many times have you been on Facebook Marketplace and somebody makes a typographical error?
Oh my God.
And do you see the comments that follow? I mean, half the times, how do you know it just wasn't a mistype because they used a cell phone? You know what I mean? And just everybody just starts berating like this is okay, and it's not.
There's a lot of things that need to be figured out, right? And I'm not sure we're ever going to get to the bottom of it, but like somebody had already previously said, there's so many factors. There's many ways to make the sandwich.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, with different
it's still
ingredients.
A sandwich.
It's still a sandwich, and it's just gross, man. Like for me personally, I would love to see a world where everybody just got along, but there's just way too many. Like you just brought up when you were talking about people in their politics. Yeah. That's just what kills me is everyone's like, well, we should just come to one accord. Like, fam, I don't know. We come up with these things to keep ourselves separated, and then it's just God. It's crazy. But it's really for me, man, and I would love to see
the media is opportunists. The media is opportunists. They're not racist. They're opportunists to promote
clicks,
agendas.
Clicks, baby, because TV's dying.
Yep, it's
I
dying.
have to have the most sensationalized title on there, whatever, just to get a click. It is.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It's all about that attention. I think that's really what it all boils down to, and not to its simplistic form, but just to a potential starting is where, ooh, I said something pretty ignorant, and 50 million people thought it was funny. I'm going to keep doing it.
You know what they call that in 2021? Clout.
Yep.
Clout is poison. My God.
I agree, Jax. I don't allow it. I'm going to tell you right now. I was at a bar in Connecticut, based in Groton, Connecticut, New London, Connecticut. Technically, that's where I was based at, and I found a bar that would serve me underage. As long as I did my thing, and whatever. And the owner was really cool. And one time, I'm just sitting at the bar eating a sandwich, and I see this dude smack his wife. And don't get me wrong. Physical contact is physical contact, but I don't mean just like a wow. I mean like he freaking Hulk Hogan that deal. Instantly, without even thinking about my potential career, criminal implications, I grabbed that dude's face and smashed it off the bar. Now, I was wrong in doing that. But I gained the respect of every person in that bar and that owner, because that dude has came there every freaking weekend, every Friday night, and smacked his wife up, and nobody did anything about it. And that is the problem that we have as well, is nobody's willing to stand up and say, well, what you're saying is wrong, or what you're doing is wrong. And now, of course, that'll be my opinion, because your opinion, you think what you're doing is right. But I think if we understand the differences between right and wrong from a positive and negative value, right? That if like assaulting a woman, whether a guy or a woman or whatever, is not right. Just like assaulting another person isn't right. Out of anger or respect, disrespect, like anything. It's not right just to walk up to some dude and punch him in the face for no reason. Now, if you're being attacked and you're defending yourself, well, then, there's that reason. But it comes down to, I guess, just understanding the differences between right and wrong, positive and negative, and good and evil. And I think that's where the to be uneducated is what's causing a lot of misunderstanding across the board of everything we're talking about today.
Yeah, it's
Jax, which one are you talking about? So if you're talking about the one where we were talking, it's voice chat, and the only way to do that is to mute everybody in the lobby that's talking, and she would have had to mute everybody. So, and that takes 30 seconds to mute 8 to 10 people from the little menu that pops up. Let's say Call of Duty or whatever. So for 30 seconds, she would have been berated until she could mute everybody. And then that wouldn't have stopped, because they probably would have started messaging her if they were even to a further extent and wanted to continue the assault, basically. And then everybody messaging her, she would have to take the time to block them. So
I'm gonna keep it like this. The only way for that lady to enjoy her game would be to mute everyone in the game, in a game where you need to communicate. Or
mute your mic and never talk, and then you're just silencing your sense. I agree.
And it, sometimes I stop and I just go, wait, what? Because I'm feeling what Dougie's saying, because he said, I think we can societally get past racism and sexism, but he feels like, classism will always exist. I feel like I was just telling him, I said, I feel you, classism will always exist, but that's why I also feel like we're going to have way much of a tougher time figuring this small shit out, because I feel like those with the ability to, you know, dictate change and dictate what happens in this world, well, you know what I mean? They'll never just be like, hey, like, no, there's always going to be something that comes like,
no, it's a person issue.
Yeah,
Jax. It shouldn't be for the fact that, let's say we had a female come on the podcast and we all started berating her, right? Y'all would leave, condemn us. And so it's the choice. It's the choice one makes to even think about berating a female gamer or a soft-spoken gamer or, you know, a however you identify gamer. You know, it's about the person's choice to do that. It's not an IT problem. It's not a game problem. It's a toxicity problem.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
Carnage.
To answer Mr. Young, we got billion-dollar corporations that can't even put anti-cheat in one of their biggest selling games. They're not about to develop anything to keep people from getting harassed. You know what I mean?
If it ain't making them money, they don't give a shit.
The way that'll work is they'll be like, subscribe for anti-harassment, $20 a month. Like, fam, are you serious? That's crazy. Not saying it would, but it's just, come on.
It's potential. It's potential. I mean, anonymity is taken for granted. You know, so I can't. It's sad that if you look at the baby boomer era of men, how men were then, right? They were brought up to be the supporter. They were brought up to be the bread and butter. The woman was supposed to stay home with the kid. And I'm just talking about the demographic of the society back then. I'm not saying that I believe that. I'm just saying, like, that's what it was. The managerial style was for them to sit in the office and tell everybody else what to do. Well, that's not the case now. There's women that are outworking men that aren't even getting paid, right? There's men that are belittling people to, you know, to get ahead, and everybody just is too afraid to stand up.
He's right. Life does not function off principle.
Well, that's what. So the gaming regulation is, if you don't want to get berated as a female, just don't ever speak up in chat. But now we're silencing people. You know what I mean? It comes down to the choice of the person to not be a little fuckhead and disrespect a woman because she enjoys gaming too, or a soft-spoken person because, or a young kid. I mean, you know, I have been one that when a little kid would come in and act a freaking jerk, I would tell him off. But, you know, I'm probably not right. But I mean, I can't say what I would say on our stream because it wouldn't be right. But I won't say it. I don't say it anymore. But it should be the choice of the person to not be that. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, and I just genuinely don't think that would be fair. You'd think the prospect of potential mate sharing your hobbies would, yeah, it would, but
the difference is like John, you literally said because it comes from a parental involvement. What happens if your parents weren't involved in your upbringing? What happens if the only involvement you had was kids at school and a cell phone and a tablet? That's literally what we're discussing here.
I just think there's a lot of things that just, you know, like I said previously, there's a lot of different.
Right there, case in point in chat. Right there, Miss Sammy. I generally keep my mic muted if I'm playing in multiplayer lobbies. This is bullshit. Just because she's a girl, she feels that she has to guard herself and mute her mic because of disrespectful people. And it's like nobody's addressing this really in the world.
I think part of the issue is also if you do try to address it, they feel entitled to it. And
yeah, I get
you
the
can't
double-edged
change them.
sword. Yeah.
And the best example of this is like, I'll use my grandfather again. He's a racist. I've called him out multiple times. He doesn't change his view. Unless the only way I'd be able to change his views if I walked up and clocked him, and that doesn't solve anything either. It just trades one issue for another. So, part of it is, it's people who don't want to continue to grow. They're fine being stagnant. And unfortunately, we can't force people to, continue to grow. It's if they want to be stagnant, they can be.
And in that point, USA Wrecked, I get it. Because, like, I take it back to, like, the Halo days where it was brutal shit talking. But it was all game-related. It was never... Well, that's not true. I got called a couple of spicy names before. But, some pretty spicy. But
there's a difference, though, like you're saying, between trash talk, right, and what
straight disrespectful talk.
Yeah. Telling someone to go kill themselves is not trash talk. That's well past a line that should be drawn, and
going after a woman when you first hear her voice in the game chat is crazy as well.
Yep.
Like, I don't understand that.
Dropping racial epithets, not something that, should ever happen. Stuff like that. That's not trash talk. That's you going over a line and claiming it's trash talk.
So, Jax, are you asking Indicay about his grandfather that he believes that one color of people is superior to another? Is that what your question is? Hold on, I need to catch his response before we delve into that, because it says professor, but I think he was thinking about your grandfather. Yeah, he's talking about your grandfather. Okay.
I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but we'll say, and I'm sure Pop Tarts has heard this line of reasoning because, it was about African Americans and blacks, and it was they were bred to be,
I've heard
stronger, etc. Yeah. So yes, in a way, that's what it is. And he's dropped racial epithets about, blacks, about Hispanics, and I've called them out on it. Like, I've tried every which way from, what if there was a word that was similar that, they called you, and, his response is like, well, it's just a word. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Dougie, yeah. You have to remember, Dougie, back then that was so. As the generations grew, everything changed. Like back then, it was about segregation between, we'll just say, white and black, but it really just everybody. Segregation, splitting everybody up, right? Then it kind of went on the back burner when being loving of the same. I can't even use the word gender, but y'all know what I mean. That became the next stigma for the next generation. Like my generation was all about trying to undermine and suppress, same-sex anything, right? And now look at the next generation, what they're going through. They don't even know what toilet to fucking pee in. And it's like that's what I'm saying. So the generational change, it's always about splitting and dividing. It's never about community and growing. It's always about splitting and dividing. I don't know if anybody else has seen that same trend.
Yeah, because it just seems like there's always a new issue, where things seem to be going along. Yeah, not perfect, but it's going. Some whole other shit will blow up. You're just like, because like we even talked about it the other day. I forgot who I was speaking to. I think I was talking to Titan and Decay when I was saying, not to change the subject or anything, but I've been a straight male my whole life, but I'm also not hating on anybody who's opposite of me. So if I get it wrong, don't come after me like, oh, it's this, that, and the third. Like, help me understand, like, because I've known one way my whole life. You know what I mean? Like,
like,
you know?
You're literally talking about that GameStop video where that poor kid behind the register was just trying to be polite, but he only could say yes, sir, and the lady was going, "It's ma'am." Like, he was being very aggravated and very angry towards that person. And the fact is the gentleman or the lady, however they wanted to be identified, wasn't understanding that this poor kid behind the counter is scared to death because he made a small mistake, and you just had to go off on him like that. And that's like literally what we're talking about today.
I like that. So let's talk solutions. I think the only way we can get past, like, you know, our self-inflicted wounds and self-contrived, you know, ways to find differences in ourselves so that we can just, you know, rest on our laurels of how we feel, is just have conversations, man. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard. You'll see it. Like, I'm from South Carolina. I was born in South Carolina, right? If I let those experiences dictate how I felt about people,
yeah,
we wouldn't be here right now. You know what I mean? Like, let that, like, I'm here with Professor and Pando. I don't care what you look like. Y'all some cool dudes. You know, or whatever you want to be considered.
I am a dude. I am a male.
But no, like,
I'm pretty sure Professor identifies the same, but yeah.
You know, just
what we're doing right now is
take the chance to learn. Take the chance to get to know somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I also had the luxury of joining the military and being subjected to people. Like, I went to AIT, right? And Fort Gordon.
You're green. That's all you know.
Which is in Augusta, right? And like, just treating people the way I was taught to treat people. I had this guy, I won't name him, cool dude. He's from Arkansas. He was like, "Hey, White." I was like, what's up, man? He said, "Dude, you know, back home, I don't really hang out with too many black people, man." He said, "You're pretty cool." I was like, "Bro, get to know us. Like, you know, what you've heard."
Yeah.
And just like what I've heard, it doesn't go for everyone. No, there's no blanket statements. Everybody's their own person. Everybody thinks their own way. Get to know somebody. You might make a friend, a lifelong friend at that.
You might change somebody's life. And I say that because, like I said, somebody came into my life and changed my life. So you may change somebody's life. You could end up not understanding a way somebody does something, and then you just ask them, or you find a way to get in their circle community, and then you just strike up discussions of things, and that's how healing happens, is identifying a problem and working towards a solution. Now, it's never gonna 100% go away. I can guarantee you none of these problems will 100% go away. But what's going to happen is as we chip away at the stigmas and learning about discussing it like we are now, and not screaming at each other because our opinion's more than your opinion kind of deal. Like, if we can just have an open line of communication about things, that's how this healing happens. That's how we can create a better environment for people to, you know, move forward through.
You know, and like,
there
my
you
dad,
go, right there.
My father used to tell me, "Hey," you know, and that's what I strive to be, is someone who can project some type of positivity.
Role model.
I wouldn't say that, but, you know, just somebody, like, to direct someone in the right direction. But like, my dad used to tell me, listen to other people. No one has a doctor's degree in life. It doesn't exist. There's no book that's going to explain everything to you. You're going to have to go through some shit, and you're going to have to talk to somebody for something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I take everything that's happened and apply it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not so into myself where I can never be challenged. Like, I think that's the day you feel like you know everything is the day you stop living. You know,
exactly.
I really feel that way.
That's exactly what I was talking about, Jax. If we start discussing it in a positive way, the negative stigma, like you said, the fire dies down. It's when it when it's like you said what to me?
Facts.
When it stops from that and it just becomes the ability to converse, you know. Exactly. Dude,
It's actually kind of scary
literally
how taboo this conversation is for some people. You know, it's just, you're just like, that's crazy.
Hey,
I don't
monkey.
understand it.
Appreciate you.
You know, I get some people just don't want to admit that, you know, their thought process was flawed, but we can't.
Or are scared to stand up and say, like, what was the first thing when you said you wanted to talk about this and we popped it in our private Discord? What's the first thing I said? Hold on, I got a look. He said,
"I'd be drinking, man."
I said, "No, I got you." I literally said, "I'm down to take that on."
Yeah.
Literally in a heartbeat, because here's why I say that. Okay, if people aren't ready to stand up for what they believe in, and I'm saying this in a healthy way. If you're not ready to stand up and believe and educate, you're still kind of potentially part of the problem. Not the big part, but the part where it's like if you're walking down the street and you see somebody getting assaulted in a side street, I bet you 90% of America or even any country is just going to keep walking. That ain't my problem. But see, I know this community, and I know a lot of the veterans in this community. Y'all would stand up and do something. I would. Like there's a case in point where it just happened. I think it was Saturday night. My wife was over at her friend's house, and you know, the daughter and the boyfriend had a really bad breakup. He was a very abusive one. They wouldn't let me teach him a lesson, and I appreciate that because I didn't want to go to jail. But he decided to show up with 10 of his buddies and had my wife at gunpoint. Needless to say, if I would have been there at the crab boil instead of at home handling some things, there would have been 12 dead people. Because the second that firearm got brandished, I'm going out fighting, protecting my friends and family, or I'm de-escalating the situation the best way I know how. Because once those weapons are brandished and aimed at me, I know there's no talking. Somebody got sent to the ER because 6 dudes was kicking him in the face with steel-toed boots. How's that okay? This comes down even into everything we're talking about right now. It's the ignorance of people. You know, so it's not just like in the gaming world. I mean, it starts here. It starts in social media. But it's like, you know, everything affects us. Like if I called 5 people and said, dude, we need to go do Patriot shit right now, I guarantee you those 5 people that I would call would be at my house in an hour. Only because they live an hour away.
You can't even say, I want to go do some Patriot shit anymore because that got messed up. You know what I mean? Like that falls under somebody's preconceived notion of what they think a patriot is.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is the shit.
But we know what it is.
And to John's point, I agree 100%. Take what color you are off of job applications, loans, all that shit. Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why do we need that?
It's all separating. Like to me, you know, when I look out in the world, I don't see. Hold on. I do my best to not see just like Mexican or Honduran or, I mean, dude, I live in Texas. I get it, right? But I see Americans. That's how I see you because you're in my country. And as long as you're a documented worker, basically, like you have a driver's license or an I-10 or a green card or whatever, you're documented to be here. And as long as you're here, I don't judge you or expect you to act like what I would think your demographic would be.
You know how weird it would be
if I
started off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. It's exactly like Pop-Tart. We talk about this all the time, that there's a difference between us veterans and alpha veterans and all these demographics under the word veteran, right? They want to split us because it's the ones that are oh, gung-ho and guns and cigar and whiskey and we're badasses and whatever. And then there's just like the ones that just did their job and are happy and living life. There's dudes like us that we just game and we hang out and we do our thing and we're providers. It's literally the same concept on the rest of the world. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know what? Because all right. So when I was I forgot what grade I was in, 7th grade when 9/11 hit. And I literally lived like 25 minutes from the Pentagon. So imagine that shit was wild. But with that, like, you know, I seen America come together. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then we turn our attention and we turn it to other Americans that had nothing to do with that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why do we come together during a tragedy and make it look good and then fuck you? That's literally it. It's like we come together like this Texas freeze, right? Of course, like I said, I'm down here in Texas. I fixed my pipes, but I had to try to find a one piece. I needed a CPVC 3/4 inch T, right? There's no store for hundreds of miles with this stuff. But then I ended up seeing something on Facebook that said, you know, hey, I have all these teas. Just call me, let me know what you need, and just contact me. It didn't have a price or anything. And he's like, hey, man, yeah, I'll meet you down here. Just bring whatever you can afford or whatever, and the part's yours. Like, that restored my faith in humanity, that this dude had like buckets of, you could tell he was a plumber and this is just his overstock, because it wasn't even in the baggies. They weren't even new. That's like they've been sitting in a garage for about 6 months that were just leftover parts from jobs. And he's giving this stuff away for either for free or for cheap or whatever. Cornbub TTV, appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate that follow. And yet there's people out there that are selling stuff that's like $5-10 for an 89-cent piece.
I mean, we seen that during the pandemic. People were selling toilet paper and fucking hand sanitizer for $100 a piece. What?
Yeah. And then, but there's no repercussion for this. Look at the graphics cards crisis right now. Look at the scalpers.
Capitalism.
So I agree with capitalism, but there's also
gross.
It's just
gross.
I think it's just negligent. It's negligent from a person to another person to throw them under the bus like that.
I do like this point. America came together, and then we've become prejudiced to a whole other country and race of people. But why?
Because they grouped them all into one, instead of just saying that it was radical Al-Qaeda. But the problem, though, is we don't know who's radical Al-Qaeda and who's just a civilian. Because
this ain't Granddad's war where everybody wore uniforms.
Yeah, their new warfare is hiding inside of it. It's just civilian garb and civilian mindset with a war mindset.
And I think, Jack, I think I might know why. And it's the same thing we breezed over earlier. I'm going to say, I never wanted to be these people or be that guy, but media normalized it, made it.
I do see your point, Jax. I do.
They demonize an entire group of human beings. And it was just like, well, you know, like that shit is crazy. Like you said, opportunist.
Right there is my 100% point right there. Firsthand, know that insurgents can't tell who's who.
Yeah.
And you can't. I mean,
the guy you shook his hand the other day is digging a hole to drop him like something in it when you drive over it. Like we've had that. You're like, fam, we just shook your hand yesterday.
Or, you know, raising your kid to hate America, even though, like, first off, I don't think we should be there, and that's just kind of where I'm at with this. But it's more of the fact is you're doing and saying things. You're raising people to hate America, right? Because of what we did. But yet we're raising Americans to hate you for what you did. Do you see the back and forth there?
There's always going to be a circle of bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
What's up, Reaver?
And you know, there has to be some point where somebody throws a wrench in the wheel to just fuck it up, because this can't keep continuing. We can't sustain this.
I think it's just gonna utilize a travesty.
You and us, yeah.
I feel you, buddy. I feel you. Anytime, we'll talk about this probably later this year again when something strikes it up again. But I think it's gonna be such a tragedy. I don't even want to say that's gonna fix it, but I think it's just gonna be such a tragic thing to happen that will potentially wipe out almost the entire world. And as we rebuild, hopefully history won't repeat itself. I mean, I know it's most likely to happen, but I really feel that unless, like y'all say, we normalize this, we talk about it more, we make it less stigmatic and less taboo, as you say, to discuss openly and honestly, not just, oh, well, my side, always me, my side. It's just understanding from the full circle of the picture of, okay, well, we think you're wrong, but you think you're right. Let's
have a discussion.
Literally like we're doing right now. It's not like, a woman would come in here and be like, well, I'm a titty streamer and I know I sell my sexuality and that's my thing, but y'all shouldn't berate me for doing it. And I'm like, we're not berating you. We're berating the men that pay into it and ruin their livelihoods. You know what I mean? Like it's just I guess it's just a matter of viewpoint.
Corn pubs. That's funny, but Roger that, Odin. But no, it'll take an act of like
no worries,
Halo, the story plot of Halo, like invading aliens would have to descend on Earth and start obliterating shit before we go, hey, you know what? You're not that bad. You know what I mean? It's insane. But no, I really have hope. And at the end of the day, that's all you can have is hope that we will somehow be able to have these conversations, not make it so taboo. People don't get so damn defensive and everyone's open about learning.
Yeah. And that's the thing though. And Corn Polo, where you're saying you can't have a conversation without. So just so y'all know, if people are typing in Twitch chat, anybody on Facebook's not going to be able to see it. That's why we try to throw the comments down below, because we're streaming to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously right now. So Corn Pub said you can't have a conversation with anyone without it being a fight. Then it's not a conversation.
No, it's just an argument.
It's just an argument.
Don't get it wrong. It may seem like peaches and cream, but me and Pando don't agree on certain things. Does that ever affect like how I feel about him? No.
Maybe a little bit, but like in a joking manner, just in a joking manner.
We
like, you'll be like, dude, did you really just say that? And I'm like, I'm not afraid to say it.
And then I'll go in on, hey man, maybe, but then, we have a conversation.
Like, okay, you know what, buddy, I did. That was a step too far.
Or then sometimes I'll go, maybe I'm being soft. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's just being self-aware enough to really, you already sharp. Yeah. But like, it's being self-aware enough to know, like, hey, I may have an opinion. He may have an opinion and reasoning. Let's put this together. Let's brainstorm and come out with something positive.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, it's just like, I'm sorry. Like with the political parties that were just going on, it's like, they couldn't come together and figure out this pandemic situation. No, I don't know why we give a flying F about anything outside of our country, unless it's other Americans that are deployed or stuck in a country due to restrictions. Why did we have to spend some $30 million for gender research when that could have been $30 million to families that needed it? You know what I mean? Like, it's always like a bicker between two things. They couldn't come together for a common goal. It's either what's in it for me or what's in it for me.
The funny thing about that is the first president of this country even said a two-party system was probably the worst idea you can come up with. But, I don't know anything.
I agree, Corn.
But my thing is, too, is it's just it's like we wake up. It's like there's somebody in the background researching new ways to keep us from coming together. And I'm pretty sure they are in a completely different tax stratosphere. You know what I'm saying? And we're just too stupid and or non-willing. I'm not going to call anybody stupid. We're just not willing
I will call
enough
you stupid
to agree that that's exactly what's happening. And that's why I feel like, you know, I'm not saying there shouldn't be people work hard, have ideas, get their money. But unless we got to just figure this shit out, because, you know, I've seen things that would help a lot of people, that just because somebody's like, well, you know, I'm this, so I have to disagree. Like, fam, that would help you too. But it is what it is. Like, I don't subscribe to none of that shit. I'm the Savage Pop-Tart. I do what I do. It is so damn prejudiced.
That's being prejudiced, Pop-Tart.
How dare you?
You better jump in that toaster.
I don't understand it. I enjoy hanging out and talking to other people from, you know, different, you know, races, genders, ethnic background. It doesn't matter. Like, I learn from a lot of people. I actually enjoy it.
I mean, I think that's where most of these problems
chat. If you want Jax Young on the Bunker Brothers podcast, let it be known in chat. Thank you. Because it's going to happen.
You're willing to grow. You're willing to learn. You're willing to open yourself up. My grandfather, I can tell you, he's met people of different races. He doesn't want to learn from it. It becomes an exception in his mind for that person.
It's habitual inside of his subconscious.
Exactly.
That's what it is. He's unwilling to go through that pain of growth and learning that you're just you're not correct in terminology in society anymore. And
you see that within, I mean, both political parties now too. Like, you're saying, well, they can't even come to an agreement over the coronavirus. I mean, we can't even come to an agreement over scientific research. And I'm not saying the scientists can't. I'm saying the parties can't. And I mean, I'm a doctoral student in mechanical engineering. And, you know, I can see on the inside the arguments that, you know, the scientists have, but it's at least to a relatively respectful level. And yes, there's always going to be a few people out there that you're never going to change their mind. You just kind of have to ignore them. Because,
yo, what's up, Sav? Hey, Sav, if you wanna jump in and shoot this shit, buddy, here's the link.
You know, the rest of them, you know, the rest of the scientists, you know, the experts in the field have sort of come to a consensus, and that's going to happen. The issue is right now we have a lot of people who just, you know, will point out to those few scientists and say like, hey, there's disagreement, so it's fine for me to disagree. Even if, you know, it's kind of like you know, brushing your teeth. 9 out of 10 dentists say brushing your teeth will prevent cavities. And it's like that one dentist said no. Like,
you know, the one guy.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, I agree with you. It's like, how do you put toilet paper on the toilet paper roll?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Bert?
And I feel like that's the big issue. It's like, there's always going to be like some people that go, there's one dentist that said, you know, it doesn't help.
Don't make me boot you. Go ahead.
Overall, you know, there's 9 out of 10 dentists say it does. You know, the consensus is 90% of the experts in their field say brush your teeth. But we now live in a society where a significant amount of people point to one and go, hey, one expert disagrees. I agree with him, so I'm only going to make that, you know, my viewpoint, and I'm going to stick to it.
Right.
Just disregarding everybody else's.
Savage, like, you can say whatever you want, buddy. We just got to keep TOS, and other than that, I don't care, man. Come speak your voice, dude. Chat's been very engaging. I appreciate everything they say. They have very great viewpoints. We've never had anything. It's been a legitimate conversation. All right. I mean, it's good, man. It's been very healthy today. You know, everybody's seeing multiple sides of things where, you know, like I said, you know, I used to be a very prejudiced or racist person, and something happened in my life where I became educated, and, you know, it changed my life, and now I can hate everybody equally. I'm just kidding. But that's the way I look at it. They're like, I wouldn't hate on somebody just because of, you know, some kind of physical or any kind of characteristic of a person. It's just like, if you're dumb, I'm probably not going to be around you because I don't like to be around dumb people unless, you know, we're doing dumb shit. You know, like if we're just rolling around in the mud, we don't got to be smart. Both, actually. Jax, both. I was to the point where I hated anything that wasn't white.
But look at you now here with
I know
with
that
the
change can happen, but change can happen. Change can happen. You have to be willing to understand, though. That's it.
Can I say this too?
Hell yeah!
In response to cancel culture, you have to give people an opportunity to change. If someone said some dumb shit 5 years ago, and through their actions and the way they are like living their lives now, you cannot hold that against them.
Yeah,
they don't deserve to have their entire livelihood snatched because they said some dumb shit seven years ago.
Click that link.
I'll send it again if you need it. It can't be one way. It's got to be both ways. It's got to be both ways. Yes, exactly. Growth matters. You can't.
There you go.
I mean, I feel, especially when it comes to racism, one of the big solutions would be, and you can't really force it, unfortunately, is getting kids, you know, when they're still young and everything's learning almost for them, you know, introducing them to people of all colors, you know, all backgrounds, you know, in different parts of the world. And unfortunately,
all identifiable characteristics.
Yeah. You can't really force that, and it's not really practical, but you can at least do your best, I guess, right?
So it basically just comes down to choice. You choose to be like this or you don't. Now, Root, I'm going to add you. Remember, we're on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. You can speak. What's going on, Root? What's going on, buddy? Oh, here, you have to unmute yourself to talk then, bud. But I appreciate you. Oh, look, he left real quick, so fuck this shit, I'm out. It's probably technological. We'll get him then.
But seriously,
it really comes down to a choice. You either choose to be like this or you choose not to be like this. What's up, Root? What's going on, buddy?
What up, guy?
How'd that syrup come out? I heard you sent Savage some.
Yeah, I sent some up to Savage. It actually came out really good. I did just under 30 gallons. So it came out with 30 gallons of sap. So it turned into just under a gallon of syrup. And we went on vacation.
So are you prejudiced between handmade and store-bought syrup?
Depends on the syrup. It all comes down to the darkness, baby.
There you go. All right. So, Rude, you've
mostly current syrup.
You've been in here for a little bit. I mean, you pretty much have known me for almost a year now. What's up, Lucius? You know, it's been a pretty good topic. We've been talking about how like even female gamers are berated, even in a voice chat of like Call of Duty. I mean, shit, even Modern Warfare 2 or anything like that, and we get to the point where, you know, people are demonized, I would say, or just attacked just because they're different. So what are your thoughts on just even in the gaming industry, you know, like?
Well, when it comes to gaming and media in general, if you are going to participate, then you need to be willing to accept the other side of the troll. And you got to figure there's people that are 12 years old playing video games with people that are 50 years old. And the 12-year-old kid's going to sit there and tell you to F your mother just as fast as somebody else is.
But that's shit talking.
Well, sure. The racial stuff's coming in. The homophobic stuff's coming in. Everything is going to come in. And it's a shitty way of looking at it. But if you're willing to participate, you need to be willing to take it and dish it back. It's unfortunate that that's the way that the game culture has gone. Now you can get into Twitch and start watching, you know, family streamers. I've got a buddy of mine, Itsy Bitsy, and he's PG. And if you can get him to curse on stream, like you unlocked an achievement, but he's very non-toxic, and
you only have to show up to mine to hear a curse word. But yeah, I feel you. So
interesting side of it.
So I mean, we all know shit talking. We get it. It's just it's a part of gaming in general now. You know, but what we're talking about is the beyond the troll, like the non-abrasive, life ruining troll. like what happened with Gross Gore and all that stuff about this whole cancel culture about something he said like 6 years ago. Or like I jumped on a kid and I was like, this dude just like I heard a little kid, I swear to you, he was 12 to 14. I mean, you can't tell through a voice. I mean, Root, you sound, very, very adult in comparison to me. But I heard him tell somebody else that, you suck. You should just go kill yourself. This is the kind of stuff that we're talking about.
Well, it's unfortunate that it has gotten so toxic, but it has. And it's, the whole die in a fire culture, that's what we called it, 4 or 5, 6 years ago. That actually wound up getting people banned just saying DIAF. It's amazing the keyboard warrior and how much of a pussy they are in real life, though. These are people that have no backbone, and they think that because they can 360 no scope you that they're better than you, and they're going to pull every card. Most of these kids are, just that. They're their stereotypical gamer kid living in their mom's basement, and they're going to sit there and shit on everybody they can to make themselves feel like one of the cool kids. And it's unfortunate they have to do it at somebody else's expense, but it's just the way the game culture has moved. And with things like Twitch, Mixer, Facebook Live, YouTube gaming, you are not gonna get away from it without really ratcheting down on TOS. And this is how they make money. So are they really going to do that?
Bring back
I agree with you. Go ahead, Ted. Sorry.
I was going to say, just bring back vote kick and, let the adults in the room kick the people who don't want to.
Oh, that's like IRC days, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm 27, but I was gaming back in the late 90s online. Like, vote kick people all the time.
My best buddy. What's up, Jax? Go ahead. Keep going, Decay. I'm sorry. I'm super excited that Jax is on the show today. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Because hold on, your mic's not working though, bud. You have to go into settings and choose the right mic.
But just because it's not in 2OS doesn't mean it has to be like this.
Right.
It used to be people. I mean, and you can still find servers like that, but you said something like that, you got vote kicked, you got banned from the server, and if there's no server or that you can play on anymore because you've been banned from all of them,
IP ban you or something. I mean, they ban your nickname, you're coming right back. They got to IP ban you for sure.
I mean, depends. If they're doing it off your nickname, you're gonna have to buy the game again. That's a financial constraint, and especially if they're a kid, they're not gonna be coming back soon. They only get so much money.
Are you kidding me? Mom, my game's broke. Need another one. Mom, we need to go to Walmart now. No, see, that's where. Yep, I hear you, Jax. What's going on, buddy?
I mean, it happens. Hold on, if it happens enough, the parents are going to stop eventually.
Close Shave, thank you for the raid. Appreciate it.
Hey, can you guys
Savage
hear me?
Bet, thank you for the sub.
Yeah, we can hear you, Cornrow.
So going on what Decay is saying and you guys are saying, the way the society has turned out with the younger population, it's everyone's entitled to everything. And with me, I'll even put it in perspective as like active duty military view, right?
Right.
There has been people in my battalion that whenever we got back from Iraq and we had our deployment patches, there was a private that, I guess, from what his mother said, was that he felt left out. So, because he did not have
award neater,
he didn't have a deployment patch with us. So he got his mother to call staff duty, talk to our command sergeant major,
and she set him up for failure.
And she basically said that she wanted her son to not feel left
Lucius
out.
Lucius when I need him in here going, man, can't you guys make a dildo?
Smokes for life.
Yeah, exactly.
There literally needs to be something that happens.
But see, and Cornell, it all started with these damn participation awards. Oh, you get something just for showing up. Motherfucker, I had to work hard. I had to pitch numerous championships to get what I got. I got labeled the closer because I could come in and just handle it. Exactly. Nobody has ever beaten me when I came in to close. I'm talking 10 years of baseball. And I worked hard for every trophy that I have. But some dude gets some little, ooh, hey guy, you just showed up and you get this. Like the National Defense ribbon I got in boot camp because we were at a time of war, and I went, I really have to wear this? Like I thought was
that's why so I did a total of 5 years of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I pitch all the 10s, Dougie. I pitch them all.
And when I was doing that, when I first started out, I was going on year 4, and it started getting dumb. Like we were going to tournaments, and people were complaining because they weren't as on the level of the other people that were winning the matches.
I mean, just to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing, that's interesting. I did the same, and we trained for, I'll call it style, technique. And I actually went and fought in the Arnolds one year, and those guys were no joke. And the guy that went ahead of me was like, this guy's cross-facing me and he's putting pressure on my collarbone. He's not doing submissions. Like, dude, he's trying to beat your ass. That's what he's here for.
Exactly. And they want to throw all this extra stuff into it. Like they were telling me one year the last year that I went to go compete, and this was back in like my early like 16, 17-year-old life. And I'm sitting there and they're like, yeah, you can't do guillotines, you can't do rear choke holds, you can't do arm bars. And I'm like, that's all I train on. How are you going to tell me that I can't do those certain submissions to be able to win the match, to earn what I deserve if I won it? You know what I mean?
Because it's not the Ken Shamrock days of UFC.
So
for MMA.
That's why. Like that in the
dude, it was the same thing for me. I was in corrections, and when I had to enter a cell to extract a offender, I had to do it in a certain way. I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. I'm sorry, dude. If I go in there and he has a weapon, he is getting the shit beat out of him until that weapon is in my possession.
And to add on that, right? So here, when I was in Iraq, and I was in the Al-Anbar province of Iraq. I was like 5 kilometers off the Syrian border. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the PMF out there, the Iranian forces. So,
I don't.
So basically what was going on was that when the insurgents were a big deal in Iraq, the Iraqi government started paying out to the Iranians to bring in their private quote unquote military to come basically do like peacekeeping missions. So when I was there, they started doing it. The Iraqi government started saying, okay, we don't need you anymore. There's no more. We're not having as many IED bombings, suicide bombings, or anything like that going on with how we were at the train yard. And so the PMS started doing is that they were planting roadside bombs at checkpoints from the 8th Iraqi Army. And they were basically trying to prove that there was a presence when there wasn't. And they would come up to the cop and our cop and everything, and they would sit there with dishkas or any other weaponry, and they would rack it at our towers at the guys that were in the towers, but we weren't allowed to do anything because we didn't want to start another war, so to speak.
Yeah, you had to handle your rules of engagement.
But the rules of engagement were that if you felt like it was a life-threatening situation, that you were able to defend yourself.
Well, I do.
But
I don't know about you.
But the unwritten rule probably stated
cancel culture is a little different.
Yeah.
I mean,
me saying, "Oh man, we need to stop Eminem because he said he wanted to kill his wife 15 years ago," is a little different than saying, "I probably shouldn't kill that guy because they're going to nuke America."
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about it though is that the idea of what can happen with cancel culture is awesome, right? But the way that it's being implemented is where the problem is. And that's what happens when you get anyone that is on a power trip, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's amazing that you have a tool that like social media of where you can literally come together and be able to influence some kind of a change. I think that the bigger issue is that how do we mobilize that tool in order to use it for the greater good versus it being used as a tool of censorship. Because
Well, you
that's the
just
other
saw it
thing
in
that
the
you got to
election.
think about too, is that, with censorship, we're putting ourselves in a position continuously to where we're openly giving up our rights, right? What's the best way to win a war where you never fire a bullet? Right?
Well, we just saw it happen
So-
with the election where you have two very divided sides, which we should. Everybody can't get along, but you're wrong. I'm right. Okay. You're not going to change my mind. I'm right. That's not chastising somebody to the point where you create a divide is not working towards a solution. And that's the way the cancel culture goes.
Yeah,
so I work in a fabrication facility, and we argue about the radio all the time. We use XM over the entire thing.
I used to do that in Weld Shop too.
Yeah. So on my side of the shop, it's all brand new. And when they put in the amps, they blew an amp. So our side of the speakers didn't work. And we actually like it because they rotate the music every day and not everybody likes the same stuff. Right. So I'm more of like, I don't know what you call it. Look up Free the Robots one day. That's the kind of shit I like. I like chill mood music. Right. So they can put on country. I can nod my head. They can put on metal. I got the tattoos and the piercing. I can nod my head. You put on some good hip hop, I'm all for it. But then they start putting on this trap stuff, and not my thing, right?
Yeah.
So the very first thing that happens today is WAP comes on. Blast and loud. And I'm just like, I couldn't do it. But I'm like, who am I to go tell them? We got 200 employees. I don't like this song. Shut it down, right? You can't do that. So at some point, you have to understand that there's different cultures, there's different people, and there's people that just like different shit than you. And because they like it, they're not wrong. Now, you need to take it at a level. If I sat here and was like, I made a comment that I have an interesting view on racism. Okay. It goes into cancel culture too. About 30% of my family's black, right? We call them our mocha frappuccino boys. We've got my brother married a black girl, and I've got 2 black aunts from before. I have 2 adopted black cousins. I grew up with a different culture. I also grew up in a fishing village. So I have a little eclectic mix, right? Coming from downtown Boston for 16 years, moving into North Carolina. Okay. Think about that culture shock. I went to school with 2 black kids for 16 years. Now I'm the minority. And everything that I saw on TV and the movies wasn't real. Not everybody's gangbangers and slinging dope and fucking bitches. They're just people. And I'm like, whoa, y'all are cool, man. I started learning more about, the South. I started learning about the slavery stuff. And I say it like it's no big deal. But I started learning the culture, and I started trying to associate that with what I see in the media, what I see in the movies. All right. That's all real. There are gangbangers, saggy pantses. That's real. But then look at the other side. You got the white kids with the skateboards beating the shit out of people too. Right. You got the skinheads, you got the Nazis. It's the same thing. So I don't know that it's necessarily a race thing, though. I think it's a culture thing. So it brings me back to WAP. I have some very, very left friends and family, and they're all about the women's movement. And if a woman wants to sit there and sing a song about WAP, she absolutely should, right? Go for it. Girl power. Okay, fine. But then how do you turn around and say that we're objectifying women? Well, you get the black guy sitting there, or a community of black folks out there singing songs about slinging drugs and killing people and fuck the police. And you wonder why the kids are getting pulled over more. They're blasting this music through the neighborhoods. You're going to get looked at. One of my favorite stories to tell is when I was 19 years old, I was in the Coast Guard, and I had a piercing between my eyes, 2 on my nose, my labret, my cheeks, my eyebrows, tattooed all up, wearing Jinko 50-inch mammoth pants.
I remember those.
And I'm sitting on a park bench.
I'd be the one looking at you funny. I'd be like, what?
You needed to, buddy. I was
going on there.
Look, so I used to have what they call the fat-free pork chop. I used to cut the hole out in the middle and have a line at the top and the line at the bottom. I looked like I belonged in a Manson video. Okay. And I'm sitting on a park bench. I mean, this is like total cliche movie stuff.
Right.
And this old dude walks up and he sits down and literally starts feeding the birds. And I'm just sitting there dicking around on my phone, doing whatever I was doing, my little Nokia brick playing Snake or something. And he looks over at me and he's like, "What's your story?" And I'm like, all right. I talked to him. I'm a half intelligent person. I'm in the Coast Guard. I had some fun stories to tell him. And he says, "Well, so what's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Look at you. Why do you look like that?" I'm like, "To be honest with you, I don't know. It's just something I felt like doing one day, and I did it." And I had a 0-gauge tongue ring in. Now, I can't do it now because I don't have the tongue ring in. But at the end of it, he said, "Son, I think there's something loose in your head." I leaned my forward head. I went like that, and it shook inside my mouth and my teeth. It sounded like I had a nut rattling on in my head. Thought I was being a smart ass, fuck the old guy, right? I walked away, and about a week later, I took everything out of my face. I realized that just walking down the street, I put all this stuff in because I wanted the attention, fuck the man, fuck my parents, fuck society, whatever. But it was for all the wrong reasons, because I am half intelligent and I do have a story. And if you're going to look at me and judge me right off the bat, I've already lost.
Yep.
So if I want to run down the street playing Rob Zombie as loud as I can through, a lower income community, what do you think I'm going to look like? Vice versa, I got some guys down the street here that'll play just the loudest bassy rap music. What do you think I'm going to think? It has nothing to do with race. And to me, it's culture. It's all culture.
Well, I think that you make a very valid point, because when I was little, I grew up in the deep South and I lived in ghettos. And every day it was either honky or cracker. You
I
know what I'm
prefer
saying? Like,
Saltine
that was
American.
that was my second name. And so, the interesting thing about it is it's very much about culture, because culture oftentimes will dictate social class as well, right? Because you'll have people that live in suburban neighborhoods that think it's cool to want to be like the ghetto kids because of all the pressure that their parents put them under of wanting to be straight A students and all this other kind of thing. Then you'll have the kids that are in the ghetto that don't necessarily have that much money or whatever. So they're either hating on or finding a way to hustle the kids from the richer neighborhoods in order to have what they have so they feel equal. So I love the cultural point.
Well, we got
But
a good
one
mix
thing
of
that-
people sitting here. So ask the
one
question.
thing that I can't, yeah, the one thing that I can't get through my brain, because my fiance is a U.S. veteran just like me. And everywhere we go, like constantly, they're like, for instance, we got a military discount at a place that we got a meal. And the lady goes, "Well, we normally don't accept the spouse because I didn't have my wallet with me." And we were like, "No, she's a military veteran too." So when you bring it like full circle of like real issues that we're still facing, not as individuals, but on a national level, I think women are treated very, very poorly, and U.S. veterans that are women are treated very poorly and
Super poor.
misunderstood. And I don't really understand. I don't really understand that. You know what I mean? Like, I never saw that before. I never really realized it as even being a man, if you will, or being a veteran, or whatever label that you want to put on me. But I'm curious of why it's okay for men, and I use that term loosely, think that it's okay to identify in the 21st century as women being any kind of level of subservient at any level. I really don't
think part of that is
understand
what I call big dick syndrome. I mean, you've always had an alpha male, even back in the pack days. There's always the male, the hunter, the gatherer, and then there was the provider. That's always been there. But that doesn't mean that the woman has any less value or any less worth. And they absolutely need to be respected for what they bring to the table, whether that be the breadwinner and you're a stay-at-home dad, or whether that be they're the stay-at-home mom and you go work every day, they still deserve as much respect, if not more. They brought the life into this world. That does not mean there ain't some ratchet bitches out there. There are some people out there that attract the wrong attention.
Dudes too.
Yeah,
but
there's ratchet dudes too.
What I'm about to say is we have Miss Jenna B. She's a streamer. She can't join, but she was telling me she gets a lot of this shit too. And she's one of the most awesome people I've ever, you know what I mean? You come across on Twitch.
You can game with me any day, and I will wreck house with anybody that disrespects you. To Cowboy Jax's point is where this breakdown happened. Yep.
And just how this is okay and how, like, I don't know. I don't understand. It's like I've seen some people that I thought I respected when a female gamer joins the chat turn into mongoloids. And I don't understand. I'm like, women play video games too.
Really?
I was gonna make a point to that real quick. It is kind of strange that also I'm Schoolie B for those who I don't know.
Mother Navy vet guy. I'm not alone anymore.
How's it going? It's crazy that you see it when a female joins a chat, you hear that voice, and then all the dudes, gamer girl ? You know, that type of, and then it just turned into just gorillas. And it's like, okay, you don't have a lot of human interaction for those people who are just 100% nerds and shit. We could cuss, right? We're vets here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just remember, we're on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube.
Got it.
Other than that, just handle business.
But like,
for real,
not a lot of human interaction. So I can understand you don't know how to talk to people and be around people when it comes to that. But there has to be like a baseline of respect that just everybody should have in the world that people just don't, and it's disgusting.
So the followers of a channel are typically part of that community, are going to show that streamer their respect. That being said, first-time viewers, the people that find it by searches, absolutely, they're trolls, they're assholes. And you would hope that the community would come together to either do something like you were saying earlier there, kick ban, or get them muted or something. But you get somebody like Anita, you know, she's got tens of thousands of people watching her just to watch her tick, right? That's her thing. Then you get the e-girls out there just, oh, look at me. Oh, look at, what do you expect? It's culture. It's culture. You are selling your body.
I think that too is people don't know where to draw the line, because you have those type of streamers, and then you have women out here that are really playing these games, really out here trying to do their best without selling themselves.
So
and people can't tell the, you know what I mean?
But don't, I had this question earlier because I'm not a gamer. So hopefully that offers a different kind of an insight for y'all. But what about approaching the game community and talking about like regulations or like the way that, you know, you can control that atmosphere? Like, I think it's ridiculous, no matter if you're a woman or not, if you're in a certain setting and the only way that you cannot communicate with other individuals is to mute all individuals, just seems impractical and really invites that
you can be selective in your muting.
Nothing can happen, you know.
Well, here's the same
broadcast.
Hold on. Yeah. So here's the same thing. How do you get somebody walking down the street to not catcall a girl?
Well, that's just not going to happen.
Oh no, it happens. It happens all the time. But that's what I'm saying though. You're trying to control something that's a decision that somebody made to go whistle and say, "Hey, girl," blah blah blah, some very ignorant comment. It's the same way, but now there's less restrictions,
and they're behind a monitor.
And they're behind a computer.
Rex is saying though, but there's a fine line with it, because they're there to create.
Because then you're censoring people, and that's where the fine line is. It's considered censoring.
You're not censoring the performer, you're censoring the community, which
I'm not even talking about streamers though, Rude. I'm talking about if we just went and played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 right now, or let's say 10 years ago, right when it came out or whatever, and there was a girl gamer. She wasn't a streamer, she wasn't anything of societal nature other than a girl that wants to play a video game. and men or boys or children just start berating this poor girl because she wants to have fun with everybody else. That's what really is the stickler. Yeah, of course, if you're a streamer, you're going to be open to a different demographic of things because you're opening yourself to the world. But this poor person, whether it's a soft-spoken male or a woman or somebody who identifies in something that they want to, it's not okay for them to just jump shit because she's a female. I think that's really where the issue lies. Point. It's not that like I'm in front of a camera and you can say, "Oh, you have guns." I'm like, dude, they're airsoft. They're for show. That's airsoft. That's for show. That's my boot camp photo. That should really tell you how open I am about my life. But I do that to myself because I want a connection with my community. Yeah, so of course, like e-girls and all that stuff, yeah, they're going to be open like that. But when you're in something that only has audio, it would be like if we all didn't have pictures and we all didn't have a community watching us right now, or communities rather, I apologize. And somebody just says something super ignorant, I could just boot you from the channel, right? And then you could never come back.
Can't do that in the game.
But then, yeah, you can't do that in the game. The only thing you can do is mute that person so you can't hear them and they can't hear you.
Which also puts you at a disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Especially for like, I'm sorry to keep using you. I'm sorry to keep using you.
Now we're starting to get to the continuity of why that's important. So not only is there the trash talking component, but the other part of that is it can actually be harmful in that environment.
Yeah, it can hinder your teamwork.
You need to be able to communicate.
It would be like if you're out in the field right now and you're under fire and 60% of your radios don't work and you can't communicate with your other team members of that firing squad or whatever y'all call it. I apologize. I'm not an Army guy. My bad. But how effective are you going to be unless all your radios worked and everybody was in complete contact?
And I was a commo guy, so I could speak to this. You know, like if I'm going out on a patrol,
I'm tracking a lot better now. But there's still. I mean, in order for there to be a solution, there has to be like some kind of a rule. You know what I mean? Like it can't just be or continuous to be. Like this bohemia, if you will, if you've ever want to get to a place of like an end result. I mean, I love the fact that this may be the first step of even opening the dialogue, right? But there also has to be active engaging solutions too. You know, is there a way the group can collectively as a whole that's in that party to say, you know what, John, go fuck yourself, like you're no longer allowed?
Yes, well, no. So it depends on the game and depends on the community. If you're playing with like Pando and I play with the guy Savage, he's got a great community. We're all pretty like-minded. Don't get us wrong. We've got some dickheads in there and we punch them around and move them and ban them and mute them and whatever. But if we go play a game, we're typically going in there 5 deep. We know our rules. We know our comms. We know how we're going to react. Mm-hmm. That being said, you go into a lobby with 50, 60 people and it's open mic proximity, you're going to get what you're going to get. But let's not get too twisted. We are trying to better gaming as an entire community versus a lobby. You know, playing a video game and you're getting shit talked. Yeah, it sucks. It's inconvenient. Mute it. Get off the game. Solving the systemic issue of why that even happens is a much bigger conversation.
I want to make it known Jax doesn't know much about video games, so we're educating him just like he's educating us on a complete opposite end, and it's appreciated. So there are ways to report people for abuse in most games. So there is steps being taken, but it has to be taken by the person that's being accosted. And you figure if there's millions of people playing a game and they just decide if that gamer tag gets banned or that account gets banned, it doesn't mean they can't just go grab and pay for another game account and then continue doing what they're doing. But there's no IP bans or anything like that.
Can I just interject real quick?
Absolutely.
Especially like on the behalf of like Miss Genevieve, right? She plays a lot. Like I watch her play Rainbow Six.
I need a Rainbow Six player.
The problem is, unless she's running a full team, she can never solo queue, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is
She
bullshit.
can't, or no, like no one can.
She
Right?
can't.
She could, but she's
Okay.
subjected to every dickhead in the lobby that's like,
I'll be
oh
right
my
back.
god,
I'm gonna
it's a
talk to a
female.
streamer for a
Ah.
minute.
I got
Roger.
you.
And it's the most disgusting thing, and it puts her at a tactical disadvantage, because if she stops talking, they're going to team kill her.
Yeah.
And you know, if she ever wants to play ranked, she has to already have an established team. There is no solo queuing for her, and that's just bullshit.
What an interesting social experiment. You know, I find this extremely intriguing on a very deep psychological level. You know, my phone's dying, so I'll just share this one story with you guys, and then perhaps I'll be able to reconvene another time. But I was in college. I was double majored in military science and philosophy, and in one of my ethics classes, they had a exercise that they did, and just to give you an idea, the majority of the room was Christian. I think there was a Buddhist in there. It was different denominations of Christianity or whatever. The exercise was, if you could do one thing for one day and there would be no consequences, like on this earth or whatever else you believe, no consequences whatsoever with your religion, anything. You know, you could do this one thing, what would it be? Now, keep in mind, there was no criminal intent or anything like that that was implied. It just said one thing with no consequences. It was anonymous. So we turn in all of the papers, you know, anonymously. We come in the next day or whatever. And it's crazy what this professor starts reading. You know, I would rape my sister. Like, you know, there's going to be a couple of smart asses in the group. Like, that's common, right? But
Right.
it continued on. Like, I would have sex with an animal. Like, all of these different people. I would murder my girlfriend. Like, I mean, the list just kept going on and on and on of all these like crazy distorted things, to a point to where you realize that it wasn't just smart asses in the room. And so the professor says, be thankful that there's laws, because look around this room. These are all of your peers, and this is what they would do if there was no consequences for their actions.
Yeah, and that's
Straight
only even like a
savagery.
percentage of the people in the entirety of the world too. Like you could see how that ripple effect would cause. Yeah.
But take that into perspective for a moment of the psychological element of that whole room. There were 40 people in that class, and mine was rob a bank, because I'm always about fuck the man. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I feel you.
like so that was mine. But some of the deviant behavior that was represented there from all of these people, you know, and he'd have people raise the room. How many people are Catholic? How many people are Baptist? How many people are, you know, this or that? And I'm not taking an attack at religion. But what I'm saying is one of the things that we really got to think about when you're talking about the root of the problem is the deep-rooted psychological nature of an individual, right?
Yeah.
How often are we promoting integrity versus just giving our opinion?
It's a good point.
I would say when it comes to gaming, though, from taking from what you said, when people are playing games that are about killing people and shooting shit up, I feel like integrity is not there. And it's an interesting point. These games have been around for a very long time, so people don't think Grand Theft Auto. I could go in a San Andreas on Grand Theft Auto or Los Santos, whatever the city is called, and I can go beat up a prostitute. Oh, the cops come, I'll shoot them. You know, it's not there. So as far as fixing that problem in gaming, I can't foresee it being 100% fixed. In normal society,
I think that's an excellent point, man.
Right.
And I think that's important for women to hear that from a man in that point of view, because it's not saying that we're suppressing who you are or what you're about or what's important to you. What we're saying is that look at the moral construct or the psychological thought process that is leading a lot of these individuals collectively to what they're doing.
I will say it's not everybody, though. Some people are just twisted and others.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Others
Same way
do
in the
want to
military, man.
promote you and see you be successful without sexualizing you or treating you poorly. But a good amount of people are just dickheads.
Yeah.
Sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Right.
agree with that. I know Mr. Renegade's been wanting to speak up, and I'm just going to have to give him the opportunity to speak since he won't take it upon himself.
Well,
So-
everybody's got such good, conversations everybody's talking about. So, and such good points that everybody's making as well. So I didn't want to interrupt nobody.
Well, that's kind of the point, though, that we're trying to make, Mr. Renegade, is if you don't step in and say something, who will?
It's true. That is very true. Now, on the topic with the girl gamers and all that kind of stuff, I've seen quite a bit of both sides of where on one side you have the girl gamers that are like what Jen experiences sometimes in Rainbow Six, where she gets TK'd like right out of the gate and stuff. As a systems engineer and going through and doing support level stuff with servers and all that kind of stuff, I can tell you from a technical aspect, there is a way to help mitigate this, and it's something that I believe that developers should start taking notice and start doing. However, it does take at least one or two development studios to actually start saying, this is what we're going to do to help curb this kind of attitude. And that's actually forcing real registration of your age. Now, this is a two-way street on this part of it. It could backfire a little bit where people, lie about their age and, muddy the waters on that part of it. So there's going to be a little bit of that. But if you have adults like ourselves queuing up in a game to do like a Rainbow Six and all that, we know not to be dickheads to, everybody else in the game. And we know not to be, well, most of the time anyway. Well, at least we know not to be complete assholes on that stuff, unless the person's obviously deserving it, but that's beside the point. So to have a little bit more of a like-minded set of people that are playing with each other based on age. And I do believe culture does go along with age. You have an age culture as well. And that's where you get a problem of you get too many young kids that think it's okay to say, well, I fucked your mom last night, blah, 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 Well, that's not that. There's a lot of kids that think that's okay to say
Unless
that.
you like literally fucked my mom, and then that's real.
Right.
That's really bad. It's bad.
Exactly. So that's where
bad.
it's like you're not really going to. There's a difference between trash talk and being hurtful. And a lot of these kids think that style of trash talk is hurtful in some cases, or it flips around where they think the hurtful talk is just trash talk. And that comes down to age culture, in my opinion. So that's where I believe that a lot more game dev studios need to actually start implementing queues for like game queues. If you're solo queuing or something, that you should be able to also, even in your preferences, be able to say, I want a little bit more adult or age appropriate, queuing or something, and
That's
be able
brilliant.
to say,
I love that.
because that would allow for a lot more age appropriate, like-minded individuals, and you're not going to have as much, I think, controversy and much, back and forth with all that. Now,
I mean,
that's just my opinion on a lot of that.
Go backwards though. Is that not? I don't want to say responsibility, but is that kind of what happens when you purchase a game? It's MA, it's NC-17, it's rated E.
I was just about to say that.
I was thinking the same thing.
Those are there. Then it comes down to the responsibility of the parent.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get on a parenting kick. I mean, I got a
Right.
6-year-old sitting right beside me right now, and I'm over here fuck. But at some point, there is a parenting decision that needs to be made.
True.
There is a supervision issue, and teach your kids not to be dickheads.
I mean,
Right.
the other big issue here is even if you go down that route, you're still you're solving the problem for potentially some of the group. You're not solving the problem at all. I mean, and you go, well, it's going to get better. But let's take a step back and think about this. When did Genevieve start gaming? Teenage years? Like, she's going to be surrounded by, like, if she was gaming as a teenager, you go with your sort of thought process. She's going to be surrounded by a bunch of teenage boys. Like, she age selection is going to group them together. If you're talking about a 10-year-old, it's going to be with 10-year-old boys.
Well, let's make it even darker. Then you're going to get somebody that's going to lie about being a 35-year-old that's going to be playing with 10-year-old boys.
Yeah.
Yep. So
you could create an actual a very bad situation.
There's a lot of issues with saying, well, we need to age segregate our gaming community because, and there's a lot of toxic, adults out there. So you're going to help the adults, but you're still also not going to eliminate there. And you're going to introduce this additional problem of putting, I'd say, the most vulnerable, right, with people who are probably going to be the most toxic.
Does anybody remember when your parents actually had to, like, when I was growing up and I wanted Grand Theft Auto, my father had to buy that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was like, "What? Why is this game rated this?" I was like, "Look, long story short, fuck all that. I need it."
You know what I mean? Yeah. Then you play games with your dad.
Doom. He played Doom with me, so it is what it is. He was like, "All right, fuck it."
And that's where you have a little bit of a challenge to deal with, Arno. You do have development challenges and challenges of the bad side of doing that separation. And yes, I do believe that segregating all of everybody from in the gaming world is a bad idea, but the problem we run into is the age culture for both, and it just gets really difficult to make it well. So in that aspect of it, I think it's a good idea to give people the option to be able to enable that or disable that kind of thing, to be able to say, yes, I want age appropriate queuing, or I want it'd be really, it get really weird with some stuff because you could do it by even saying I only want to queue with other girls. That's an option that as a dev you could do, but you're running into all kinds of crap with that. You're going to have all kinds of bad stuff that's going to happen with it too, and it's going to possibly muddy the waters. But
my thing is, go ahead.
It's one of those things, like the possible good that could come out of it could possibly outweigh the bad, but it could also just turn the flip side worse. The problem is we don't have anything like this right now, so we can't say one way or another. And we don't have anything like that. So
I'm gonna tell you, they're already segregating the gaming community with the implementation of skill-based matchmaking. Let's talk about it. They already do that.
That's true.
Like, so they can easily do that to save somebody's peace of mind. But they'll do that so somebody with lower skill will buy more skins, put them in a lobby with the Savage Pop-Tart, but rarely. Or I have to play people that play like me, and I'm just like, yo, I don't want to do this. I'm sweating, and I have an AC unit in my room. This is crazy. So they already split the gamer base up, but they do it for their own benefit and not to benefit,
they're trying to flatten the curve.
The lowly, the assaulted female gamer, which is absolutely bullshit. They find reasons to split things up, but it's only like I said earlier. I said. They'll add that, but it'll be $20 that you have to subscribe for gender-based matchmaking, $20 a month. It's coming.
Granted, it's probably only 5% of the population, but let's not think that there aren't some seriously toxic females out there either.
Oh, facts.
Oh,
I mean, it's everybody's got it,
Toxicity is everywhere.
You're automatically going to have to put in the idea that at least 10 to 15%, just right off the top, of all people that are going to be playing a game in general are absolute creepy / toxic / shitlords that just need to not be in that game. You can just automatically say 15% right off the top, done, gone. because you're going to have that. It's going to happen. There's nothing you can do to prevent it. It's just true, and I believe as you guys all as well. There's several vets here. You guys realize too, with going in through the military, going through basic training, and going through ASVAB and going through MEPS and all that kind of fun stuff. They actually, the military, a lot of people don't like to believe this, but it's true. They have what they call the 10%. And it's the people that are either too dumb, too stupid, unintellectually strong, or
mentally or physically incapable.
Mentally or physically incapable that cannot serve at all. And they are classified as the 10% that are not allowed to enter in. Or if they do manage to get in, they are only allowed to do the very, very basic of jobs ever. And so the military has even gone through and has actually looked at the population as a whole and said, yes, 10% of our population will not be able to serve the military at all because they're either not able to do it intellectually or they're not able to do it physically.
Kind of bite their own ear.
Yeah. So, and they had to do this, and there's a lot of people that kind of fight this thing of like saying, no, the military doesn't really try to be like that or whatever. No, they have to. And the reason for it is because they don't want to put other men and women in harm's way because of that person's inability to do their job on the battlefield. So in the same aspect as a coder or a developer or a systems administrator, I have to look at as well. I need to make sure that I can put in a way that I can kick that 10 to 15% out of my systems so that they don't disrupt and cause an issue for the rest of my clients.
Put them all into a lobby together.
Well, at that point, I would say, I think studios know they have to do that, and developers. But
those are the 10 people in the plane that don't get to deploy when they go to launch the lobby. No, you 10, you can't go.
There you go.
Well,
they're the ones that are stuck in the plane before they can't jump, and they're hitting all those buttons. I can't jump. Yeah.
Will they do that though? I don't think.
No,
I don't think they will.
It's not financially beneficial for them to do that much more work to save this. I don't know. I guess if it were me, I could see the money and cost in coding, but I mean, really, you're making a buttload of money forever, at least on the big game developers. Maybe not a small indie developer, but it could start with the indie developer and become a trend that would then become into the single A to triple A gaming. So it potentially could be something where it starts as an indie game, and these indie games created the ability where it lessened the curve of toxicity through voice and game audio and chat and stuff like that. I don't know how they would do it because I'm not a coder. I'm just a logical thinker, but I'm sure that there could be a trend started in some form.
A light bulb moment.
Those are few and far between as well, though. Like the syrup light bulb moment.
Are we enabling cancel culture right now?
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying,
but
I'm not saying
we're saying
no.
We don't want you to play the game. So
that's not what we're saying.
You're going to play a different game.
That's not what we're saying. Absolutely not. It's putting words in my mouth. What I'm stating is having the option to decide the ability of there shouldn't be a way. There should be a way for people to feel that they're not going to be assaulted in video game chat.
A virtual safe space.
Kind of, but not really. What I'm saying is we all know trash talk is going to happen, but there's no reason some little 12-year-old kid should come into chat and scream the N-word about 50 freaking times without a repercussion.
His father should go over there and kick him in the forehead.
Daddy ain't around. Mommy's at work.
The quote that comes to
that's what I'm saying.
Mind is your rights end where you start trampling on mine.
Sure.
So, and in reality, there's no right that you have to the internet or anything like this. There's no dedicated right. the idea that, you know, it's like all the people who want to like shit on Twitter and Facebook for, you know, censorship. It's like,
It's private entity.
Yeah, it's a private entity anyway.
Same thing with gaming. So, you know, sometimes the trash needs to be taken out. Like it needs to be done. And I think the big issue is there's not enough outrage over it. I mean, think about it this way. They have systems to fix cheating in video games.
No, they
Why
don't.
is that?
Do they?
No, they don't.
I mean,
No, they do in other games, but not Warzone.
Can you talk to any Call of Duty? Can you talk to Escape from Tarkov? Can you talk to Rainbow Six? Can you talk to any 3A like billion-dollar companies, and they can't even keep their people from having that?
Well, they have them
regularly
but they don't work.
I regularly watch BattleEye actually reject people out of Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
BattleEye be getting people to fuck up out of here.
it's also not instantaneous. I mean,
Oh no, it's
Valve,
not. It has to
Valve
be
does
right.
wave bans, and they do this for reasons. So like they do have methods in place. You may not like how quickly they do it or how long it takes for it to catch someone, or the fact that, but I mean, it's a cat and mouse system, right?
Yeah.
People start getting caught, they're going to start changing the cheats again. Like
The
point
problem
is,
that runs,
it's still there.
and so sorry to cut you off, but the other problem that happens with this as well is whenever you, and because I've seen the back end of how this works sometimes, whenever you have to go through and deal with people that are getting reported and all that, there's some companies that require that person meet a minimum number of reports.
Ooh.
So
yeah, I used to do Aurora for a Ring of Elysium, and we had that.
Yeah. So what you run into is you have to have, it's like, yeah, that person's completely toxic or whatever, and they've been reported like 4 times, but the magic number is 5. Well, until they get that 5th report, then they're not actually going to get kicked to the curb. But the other problem too, that other dev studios and other game studios deal with as well, because this is another method I've seen that they do. They actually go through and they will review the scenario in which the person was reported in. And they will go through and review, is this, a possibility of of somebody just being upset, or is this an actual, somebody just being a jerk by reporting just because they can report, and they have to go through and filter that stuff.
Yeah,
So
like if you beat me in a gun battle and I'm like, here's a report just to be a
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. I wanted to interrupt you real quick because I'm actually curious about this. How, like in a game like Overwatch, that's my game. That's one of my favorite games, unfortunately. When something happens over voice chat, how can someone on the back end in the company, because I get called names all the time. I'm black, I get called the N-word all the time in video games. How
I'm white and get called the N-word all the time in video games.
I'm just saying, we all been, you're this, you're that.
Oh no!
On the end of the company, how? This is just general.
I was waiting for
curiosity. How do you figure out the exchange that's just verbal and it's not in a text chat? Is there a way? I mean, I don't.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I get where you're going with that. No, so on some platforms, they actually do full voice comms recording.
Mm-hmm.
Some platforms do that, regardless of what's going on. Every game match and such is recorded. There's 3 games that I know of off the top of my head that are fully recorded all the time, and that's Fortnite, Go for Watch, and Call of Duty. And I don't remember which number of Call of Duty that recently got that. A lot of game dev studios will not advertise that but you'll be able to look and see if there is a studio that does that if you go and look inside of the acceptable use policy, the EULA, whatever, and you will be able to read in there that you forfeit your right to having your voice recorded and stored on their servers. If you look into that and the EULA states that, then yes, you have a server, you have a game, that your voice is being recorded. So no matter what you say in the game can be used. So if somebody says, that they're going to go, off somebody else in real life, and that person gets reported, that recording gets submitted to the actual authorities.
That's insane. I'm in disbelief. I did not know that was a thing. I always wondered about that.
I think
it is a
Sony
thing.
just adopted the same thing.
Yeah, Sony does some stuff. Nintendo's done this for years.
Sony with the PS5, when you buy a PS5, you agree to this, and it's, from my understanding, for all games that support it. It's a system-wide agreement. So if you're toxic on it, they can actually kick you from PlayStation Plus, basically.
I think Alexa's doing that now too, isn't it?
Yeah. The oldest company that's been doing this for the longest time is actually Microsoft.
Well, it's Microsoft. Well, it's funny that you say that, because I was playing Fortnite for a couple of weeks, just messing around, memeing, and I had a voice changer at the time.
Fortnite
I played
recently?
Fortnite. No. This is like a year and a half.
All right, everybody, let's unfollow him.
That's fine. Unfollow me.
Hold on.
Toxic cancel culture. Get fucked.
Pop,
bye.
before you start talking shit, take that hat off.
All right, buddy. That's why, man. You know what though? It was a social experiment, and you would be surprised at how many people followed me just from playing Fortnite, and it felt bad. Get that Walgreens out of here.
Yeah, get that Walgreens up there.
Anyway, so I was playing Fortnite, messing around with some randoms, and I had a voice changer that made me sound like Baymax from Big Hero 6. So I was doing this for the memes this day, and I was just going like, "Hi, I'm Baymax, your personal Fortnite companion." Like, I was pretending to be Baymax in Fortnite for Fortnite. And a lot of the kids thought it was freaking fantastic. They thought it was funny and hilarious. But then there's this one dude that I queued with, and I said it, and he goes, "Did you just call me the N-word?" And I said, "Boop, I'm out." Like blatantly, like he was ready to fire that the second I spoke. And I'm sitting here, and I've all like Renegade, when you state that, it really surprised me, because I didn't think that companies really gave a shit about what happened in voice chat. So obviously there has begun a start to a means of verbal abuse over voice chat, which is nice to hear. I just wonder where the companies draw the line between trash talk and abuse.
That's where, and that's why there's a lot of cases, unless it's such an egregious, a case where it's such, way over the top, where somebody's actually threatening bodily harm to another person, kind of level of a complaint. They honestly, they use, and this is where companies, because trying to pay for people, manpower, man or woman power, however you want to call it, person in seat, to go through and listen to all this stuff, it's too expensive. So what they do is they actually utilize systems like the cloud services, like what Google provides for being able to do voice to text, where it'll actually transcribe what is going on. If it's not able to understand what the person's saying, obviously it's not going to transcribe it correctly, and it's just going to come over as garbage. So that's where it gets a little kind of gray area on how that actually works. But most of the time, what they actually do is they process that through a voice call miner, with data mines keywords.
Appreciate you, Jax.
And they go through and look at how that data is trending and what usernames are popping up for that, what kind of stuff is happening with that. And that's where they're able to see if that person gets X amount of reports and their data mined voice call equals this value. Kind of like, think of like spam assassin for email. Your spamming of, email to X amount of places has granted you a score of, 65. Well, okay, now all email companies now view that as being spam, so you're going to get flagged as spam. Well, the same kind of thing happens in the voice chat system when they're going through and doing these analytics, is that it'll automatically go through and look at what it's actually going through and doing for or what that person's actually saying, and it'll trend that. And then if they see that they're getting bans and such through that, or getting reports, then that's when it gives them a total value for that wave of bans. And then if there's X amount of accounts that equal at this level of higher or lower of, what we'll call bad person score,
Right.
or naughty score, then that person just gets banned. That account gets banned and gets kicked to the curb. And that's how they're doing a lot. That's how Valve does a lot of their waves of their VAC bans, because
Is that filtered through? Is that filtered through AI first and then to a human? Like, is it funneled down through AI and then certain particular ones get flagged for human interjection, basically, or is it all just like, okay? So obviously, if let's say thousands upon thousands of reports come in every day, right, of across, let's say, a major game title, right? Would AI, would artificial intelligence or a program of sort be able to funnel down the reports? So some of them are just like, you can tell that it was just some douchebag reporting somebody because they lost a gun battle, as opposed to this one where the voice states that, he said he was going to go kill somebody after this game today. Like, is there a program of sorts that would streamline this, or has it just not been created enough yet?
For some companies, yes. Some other companies, no. Not all companies use the same system or the same software for that. Some of them build it in-house. Some of them use cloud-provided services to streamline. It really depends. And in some cases, there's never a human element to it at all.
So basically what you're saying is we have to pretend to be Microsoft, steal somebody's idea of this monitoring system across all games and all platforms, and then sell it for money, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, basically.
So I mean, that seems like the only reasonable way is for somebody to create something that can be multiple platform, multiple game, easily injectable into everything. I mean, outside of that, there's just no way of. We can slow it down. There's never an attempt to stop anything. There's no way you can 100% stop anything. But if you can put a speed bump in the way of how people are treated online, how women are subjected through voice chat. I mean, of course, some of them subject themselves for financial gain. But hey, we all know the oldest
profession.
Exactly. We know that.
Yep.
So it's always going to be that way. But if we can. I think what the world needs is it needs to be known that steps are being taken to protect people in places where they used to not be protected.
Right.
I think that's just what needs to happen.
Now,
right there, Jack said he's in for branding it. Let's go. His shirt makes history, by the way. So we can make history right now by implementing this.
Yeah, and the thing is, it could be very messy to implement. It really could. But it's one of those things that if you use math to go through, there is a way that you can always use math to analyze and trend who's going to be the shitlords. It's able to be mathematically calculated based off of, I would have to say, just off the top of my head, probably within the first 15 to 20 games that a person plays on how their interactions are with other people.
So it's literally like skill-based matchmaking, how you have to play a specific amount and then you get put in this tier. It would be the same thing with hostile engagement.
Yep.
Tiering.
IQ-based matchmaking. I love it.
So
I don't love it. I don't love it because then I would have to play with other big brains out here. I wouldn't be able to trash news. So, it's hard.
I'd like to point out two things. One is, I like how Renegade said it's too expensive to have these people, but in some of these cases, like Microsoft is worth almost $2 trillion now. The fact is, like, it's especially for like Microsoft, they bring in billions of profit a year. It's not too expensive for them, but the money's too valuable for them, right?
Right.
The other one is, I can talk from my own experience a little bit, and that's I know personally with like Counter-Strike Go,
Yeah.
like the way they do it is like people report an individual, and if it's being humanly reported for like gameplay, they'll have someone view it from a similar skill bracket, maybe like a bracket up or two, depending on where their skill is. And then, these people are like elected by Valve to be like adjudicators, and they say like yes or no, this person's cheating. And I mean, you can even find videos of people doing this on YouTube. Like they, hey, let's go find some cheaters, and they start watching replays, and boom. But on the other hand, some other, like they also do, on the other hand, like the automatic banning he was talking about. So, if they're just running a script, and if they're seeing something they suspect is cheating through this script, it's just not an automatic ban. Like it's, hey, we can tell you're either modifying the files or using an injection script to, basically do something we don't want you to do. And that you just get yanked. So there, a solution going forward is obviously one solution's probably not going to be enough for.
But one solution could be a start.
But you can use
one thing could be a
of it.
You can literally,
saying, right?
Yeah, but you can literally. So I like to think of things as like a lake, right, or any kind of non-moving body of water. Okay, the only way to make a difference is to make an impact. Am I right? You can stomp the ground, you're going to make the water move. You can throw a big rock into that water. Yeah, it'll make an impact at a specific point, but it's going to ripple. It's the ripple effect. It's going to create change over time. And I think that's what the industry needs, is it needs to have the start of the impact, which they are working on. I just don't think it's in a manner of which it should be done speed wise, but I'm sure that comes down to financial. But there's obviously steps being made to protect people online, to protect people from verbal abuse, to giving you the ability to mute things. But I think now we're hitting that next ripple that we need to start creating more without sacrificing like censorship and your whole choice, really. Like I think that's the fine line, is finding out between choice and what's considered censorship.
The other thing that I would definitely say that I think does need to be something that happens as well is, until something like a good, robust system that's able to actually go through and look at all that kind of, all those markers and such is, and I honestly believe that some game studios should try to actually look at doing this, is where you actually put up a job posting for the gamers that play in the games and such, where they can, say, spend an hour, 2 hours a day and review people who have been reported. And if, if like, say, 5 people all have reviewed the exact same thing and said, yeah, that person's being a shithead and they need to be kicked to the curb and be banned, then all the people that had agreed yes could get in-game currency or something.
There are a couple of games out there. Tencent and Aurora were doing that. That was part of one of the community mod things.
Yeah.
Did you just
I'd
say
like to see more of that. Yes.
Yeah.
Tencent.
I will say this to what you said, Mr. Renegade. It makes perfect sense to me. I think that'd be a great idea, but at the same time, I feel like it might be overflow, because people, if 5 people in this chat and this call have to review one person, okay, we all agree this person's a shithead, kick them or whatever the problem is. We just got 500 more reports in the last hour in Call of Duty for cheating or whatever. I think it's a great idea, but there is a problem of just overflowing. It's just it's a constant thing,
This is why I was saying you can do a patchwork of stuff, right? You don't need just one solution, and one solution won't fix everything. One solution won't solve everything. But if you develop a patchwork of mix between automation and human intervention, you're going to catch a lot of it. And that overflow, you don't need, you're not going to have a ton of overflow, especially if going back to CSGO, you don't need to review the people who are getting caught via, hey, you're running a script and we can tell. There's no need to review that. You just ban them, be done with it.
Andrew, I got to ask you a question.
I can't wait to answer it.
So part of your title, it says, let's discuss racism and sexism and cancel culture without.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at the stream lately?
I know. I was gonna do something, but I didn't want to make it known. From everybody leaving and coming back.
There you go. Even the team.
They didn't even notice it either. I did.
Well,
and I was like, all right,
that.
how am I going to sneak this in somewhere? And then literally as I'm about to grab my mouse, you're like, hey.
Now horizontally, they're on the same, though. You got to switch you with one.
Right?
Yeah, but it's even, though. It doesn't matter. Okay, so that.
Hey, yo, y'all ain't shit. Hey, I wasn't going to say nothing.
It took you a minute to realize.
You literally just proved my point that it's all about perspective.
Absolutely.
It's all about the viewpoint of people. Because to me, I really didn't give a fuck about how anything was laid out. And then I went, should I give a fuck?
I saw it.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm about to sneak this. And then fucking Root had to say something.
I think we should do a ranking structure.
But look though, I mean, what Root what Root did and said was correct. He identified a problem, spoke up about it, and we resolved a solution. So that's step one.
There's a reason I did what I just did.
Things.
It's context. Okay?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
There are words that people can say, and there are words you should not say. But context is everything.
Yep.
A word is nothing more than a sound out of my mouth. It's the meaning and the context behind it. My name is Dave. Okay. You could yell any noise. I'm going to turn around and look at you. My name is nothing more than a sound your mouth makes to get my attention.
Right.
Right. So pick a word. Right. It's a word.
Even a whistle.
But what is associated with that word? Okay.
Yeah.
What is the context? Not the history, but what's the context of that word? In the gaming community, unfortunately, the context of that word and the history of that word is now gray. There are those, absolutely, but it has become so normalized through music culture, pop culture, media, gaming communities that now that word has lost that part of its value inside the community, but it still affects those.
You're literally talking about the swastika. How it started out as a symbol of good. No. But I'm saying, but you're saying context. You're saying context. To some people, that was a good hope or a goodwill, and then somebody else changed the context of that same symbol to mean the exact opposite. So what you're stating is the viewpoint and the context of the word. Like I could say a word, and I may have not meant it derogatorily because I didn't know it, but you took it derogatorily or you heard it derogatorily between the context that I used it in and the history potentially behind that word is what you're saying. Is that what I'm grasping correctly?
Just wants to jump through the screen right now, man.
I'm not. No, because I'm not disagreeing with you. There might be some who just don't know.
Sure.
But I'm one that okay. So I'm going to take what's the douchebag's name that used to play for the Heat that got caught saying the Jewish
thing.
Myers Leonard, his dumbass. He used a anti-Semitic slur, right?
Right.
To disrespect somebody. And then goes in his apology and says, well, I don't know the context of that word. Stop the bullshit. You knew exactly what you were doing because you used it to disrespect
he was trying
someone.
to state his ass.
How you use the word, you are using the context of that word.
Right.
But that goes to say half of these people that use these words that are overly offensive, they know what time it is.
Absolutely. They don't get a free pass.
No, fuck them. But like you said, I do feel like it's normalized. That's why in my personal life, you can ask Pando, I try not I literally go out of my way to not use it sometimes slips up, but I go out of my way to not normalize the shit. But at the end of the day, nobody is above me.
You get
actually
used to
having
class, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
like
I listen
bro,
to Netflix is a joke radio. I don't listen to music much anymore because it all pisses me off. Yeah. But I listen to comedy. I try to laugh every day. Channel 93 is where it stays in my truck, right? And you've got guys like Rodney Carrington that are just Boo Radley fucking Hicks. And then you got Cat Williams, Chris Rock. They're definitely black culture comics. And you listen to the Wayans, you listen to all these guys, and they'll drop N-word after N-word after N-word, fuck the cops and the white man this. And dude, they're pandering to that community, but are they helping their cause any? Fuck no. Because then you get the white guys like me, they're like, man, they really just hate every cop. And they go, Chris Rock goes on.
How do you feel about Dave Chappelle?
I think he's fucking hilarious. But I can get sensitive listening to some of his stuff. Absolutely. Because and I think it was Chris Rock that did the last one I listened to. He was talking about having to prepare his children for the white man. When you leave this door, not one person gives a fuck about you, and half the people in this house don't either. Like, all right, you're giving the tough love shit. I get it. But then it's like, and when you see that white man down the hall, I'm like, whoa, dude, what did I do to you? Like, am I supposed to go to your show now? Or is this like blacks only? You know, you get that whole, like I said before, the music and the culture, you appropriate and you propagate that culture, then what do you expect people to see? Same thing with me having my piercings and my tattoos sitting on a bench. I put that out there. I expected to be treated that way.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But go ahead.
Go ahead, Pop-Tart.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I get where you're coming from with it, but never in life will I ever sit here and be like, oh, yeah, well, it's our word. It's our word. I don't like when I don't even like when my people in my vicinity use it.
Mm-hmm.
I tend not to use it. But for me, there's no normalizing it. Like, I don't give a fuck where you come from, what you listen to. Like, hey, I don't look at myself as that. Like, oh, what's up, I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. Even to my black friends, like, yo, my man, nah. Because I ain't nobody's that, like at all. I'm not going to walk up to some, to a person of another color and call them out of their name. That's insane to me. Like, I just don't get it. Like,
I never understood that either.
What I call myself? Did you assume?
This will split the room, and this will split the room, and I'm really good for this. If you haven't noticed in the last half hour, I come from a good place, right? I want to stir the pot, okay? But it's all from a good place because I want to get reactions from people. So I was a troll the other day, and I love what I did. There was an article on Facebook that said Kanye West worth $6.6 billion or whatever, 66 billion, whatever it is.
I think it was 6.6, something stupid like that. Crazy.
Wealthiest African American in U.S. history. Okay, but he's not. And my reply was, really? Because Elon Musk beat that motherfucker hands down. Elon Musk is a true African American. And Kanye West is some dickhead from Atlanta.
Chicago.
Atlanta.
Well, I mean, yeah, but no, he's from Chicago. He went to high school in Chicago. He's from Chicago.
So he is not, and this is where I'm going to split it. He is not an African American. He's a black dude. Power to him. Good shoes, nice clothing line, Kim Kardashian. You did what you had to do, right? But the article made it racial. They immediately went and said, he's the wealthiest African American, took all of the culture, all the nationality, all the geographics away from that word, just so they didn't have to say the word black, right? Go to Russia, somebody born and raised in South America, or in South Africa.
Go to Russia.
Moves to Russia. Are they African Russian? Is there a black guy in Russia? Is he an African American? Is he an African Russian? No. I mean, we got to be able to call people what they are. I'm a white dude. You're a black guy, right?
I mean, that's
isn't that what it is?
Comparison.
Can I answer Jack's question? No, there's no difference. Go ahead.
There, like how in the U.S., like you have people who are like third generation, Americans, and they go, "Oh, I'm Italian American. I'm Irish American." That's not an apples to apples comparison. And like I understand the idea that like, well, he's not this, not that. Elon Musk is technically this. I mean, that article is pointing out, because there's the in society, the people of color are known to be, and statistically shown to be, worth less, net worth wise. Like their houses aren't worth as much. They don't make as much money. And yeah, I can see your point, but at the same time, that's not the point they're trying to make. So you two are talking at two very different levels.
Well, like I said, I'm here to stir the pot.
Yeah, he's a chef out here.
I am trying. I'm trying to shake this to see where it's going to go, because this is the kind of conversations that will uncomfortably make people understand each other. Because if everybody wants to sit here and pussyfoot around and be PC, and buddy, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but we got fuck that. Get it out there.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I hate the fucking fact that I have to put what race I am on a fucking job application.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything, bro? Am I qualified or not?
Why does it say not Hispanic? Why can't it just say Hispanic? Not Hispanic. What is that?
Why does it say? Why does it say white, non-Hispanic,
black, or not Hispanic?
Because a lot of Hispanics are technically white because their heritage is Spain. But yes, I agree.
Yeah, but fuck all that. I done went deployed in shitholes for this country. Just call me the savage fucking Pop-Tart. Like, let me live. Damn it. Like, god damn, why I gotta do all this extra shit? And give me a tax cut. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to pay taxes. I'm a veteran, my back hurts. You know what I mean? I'm 32 with back issues. Thanks, Uncle Sam. Fuck.
There you go. 40 with back issues.
When it comes down to it, as a nation, we should, in all honesty, and I'm going to say something that's probably going to rub some people a little wrong on this one. We should just go back to where we have just an identification based off of your social security number. That's it.
Yeah.
That is absolutely it. Now, the reason why people are not going to like that is because it's like what antagonists end up mentioning, because they have to have tax cuts for diversity or whatever. There's another thing too that came out, and there's one part of it that I'm a little upset about it, and then there's another part of it. I get the reasoning for why it was created, but I don't think it's necessarily as needed now.
Are you about to go HBCU?
No.
Okay.
I have no idea what that really is.
Historical black colleges.
And universities.
Yeah.
A little bit, yes. Okay, so here's part of it. So I'm white, and if I go to apply for certain grants or certain loans or certain education credits and such like that, I actually don't have as many available to me as if I was black or as if I was a woman or any of that, because there are special programs just for black people to get a job or to get college education or something along those lines. And the same for women.
Why?
Now, the thing that I don't understand is, why do we still have to continue with that? Even though I realize that the reason why those were created was in a time that it was economically that race of people were, or that gender of people were, social and economically depressed in that area. And it was very hard for them to get equal levels of education, equal levels of pay, equal levels of all that stuff. Yes, we still have a little bit of an unevenness on it, but it's, in my opinion, nowadays it's been the closest it's ever been for pay and everything like that.
So
go
ahead.
For all of that. So that's where, I look at it as like, whenever I look to the future for my daughter to go to college and stuff, I know that I'm going to have to pay 100% out of pocket because she's not going to qualify for all these extra grants and such and extra programs that somebody else that, like my neighbor's black daughter, who's already been pre-approved and everything for going through and getting a full ride scholarship and everything, not to do with anything with her grades, not to do with anything to do with where she lives in the world or any of that, all just because she qualified for the African American college credit or whatever, and she'll be able to go to college for free, which is great. I'm totally happy for that. But to make it to where not everybody is able to get and apply for such programs, that's where you're then going into being the government and these programs are actually then being racist to the other party. So it's really, it's in that
it's a slippery slope.
It's a very slippery slope. So it's kind of hard to explain a little bit about it because some people get all up in arms about it of like, oh, but when I look at it in the form of like, yeah, I'm a hardworking guy. I go through, pay the bills, pay taxes and everything like that. And when I look at it at the end of the year, you know, I'm like, okay, so I can only set so much back and aside so that I can make sure that my daughter's going to be able to go to college if she chooses to. But on the other token of it, I know that there are programs right now that I can go ahead and apply for that I could have been able to apply for her, that she would automatically have a scholarship grant thing, whatever, to be able to just go in just by becoming, you know, just by being a different race, just by being a different color.
In this day and age, you could just identify as that one, right?
And that's the thing that bugs me too, because one, there was a family that I knew that was at the school. I ran into them once before, and they identified as white, mixed race, black African Americans. And I had absolutely no clue what the hell that all meant as a combination. But because they identified as all that, the dad was able to get a job with the government without having any qualifications for it at all. And was just like, here's a job, here's a company car, here's a stipend, here's a moving bonus and all that. And boom, he now works for the government, and who knows what he actually does. And he basically got a job for free.
So I can't say that I've ever spent a day in the life of a woman, nor can I say that I've ever spent the day in the life of anybody other than a middle-aged white man. So Pando, you can get in on the woman's side of this.
Time out.
Pop-Tart, I'll take the black guy.
Is 40 middle-aged?
I feel so.
Don't you ever talk like that again.
Pop-Tart, we're both screwed.
So stirring the pot or whatever, I try to see it both ways, right? The middle-aged white man, they shit all over the black guy for how long now? Right? I mean, like, actually just made your life's hell, right? So is this white guilt? Is it we're trying to give everything back? Or is this we are enabling this divide to continue by saying, all right, well, you're black, so you're going to get a handout. You might be smarter than me and qualified for college by your damn self. You don't need the handout, right? So are these systems actually perpetuating the issue just based on politics, or is it real?
And the only thing I'll add to your thing there, Root, is how long, and this is just as a question, you know, how long do we have to pay for our ancestors' mistakes?
That's dirty bait, man.
And that's
I know.
I mean, and I'm not shitting on anybody, but let's not act like this shit didn't drastically changed less than a person and a half ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, and then hold on.
not even a
let's
person
add-
and a half
let's-
ago, though.
Yeah, like maybe a half
My
a person.
grandfather was literally
a person
alive
ago.
during segregation. So
So,
I want to point
then-
that out.
You have a ghost
then-
walking behind you,
but
Root.
here's my thing too, is like I'm not never looking for a handout. Like I wish I'd have known about free college because I wouldn't have joined the fucking army to get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will say this, right? And I like to. I don't want to do it, but I will. Is like you remember how in the past couple of years everybody was talking about what was going on in Chicago? Like, oh my God, Chicago's terrible. People are dying out there. I'm like, we can talk about
And
the actions,
Ferguson?
but nobody talks about the amount of shit that was put in place to cause that fucking absolute shit sandwich to be born. You know what I mean? Like and I'll never be the one that'll be like, oh my God, it's so rough. Like, bro, I'm out here. I'm built for this shit. I have tough skin. I've grown like I do. You know what I mean? Like nobody's gave me shit.
It's all that extra melanin, right?
I give you shit all the time, Pop Tart.
Like, look, I can go outside and stand out in the sun and not get burnt. Maybe
I
we
give
out
Root
here.
shit too.
My
No,
pasty Irish
we
ass.
give-
I get
we give
everybody
looking at
shit.
a light bulb.
Seriously,
lots of
I'm
shit.
like I come out here, I do my thing, I try my best, and luckily for me, you know, my parents both are still together to this day. They raised me right and put me in an environment that, you know, wasn't always the best. You know what I mean? Like, not like, oh, we have this, that, and the third. Like, nah, you had to go through some shit. But at the end of the day, when I like don't get me wrong, because I think about like, oh my God, what can I do to help, you know, people that look like me? And then like what kills me is people are like, yeah, this, that, and the third. It's fucked up. This is fucked up. But nobody does the research in what decisions, laws, and policies were put in place to actually stifle growth.
But I was on Google the other day, Pop Tart. It said.
No, I mean,
No. That's what I'm saying. That's the
I mean,
amount
I
of
get that,
research
but at
people
the-
go.
at the- at
I'm
the
on
end
your
of the day-
side.
No, and I'm not saying
yeah.
you're not, but
Yeah.
for me personally, is all I can do for me is hold myself accountable.
Right.
And you know what's fucked up is a lot of what I do in life and the decisions I've made and the things I've tried to accomplish don't come from a standpoint of me just wanting to do it. I got brothers, white, black, Hispanic, who gives a fuck, that are no longer with us, right? They all, you know, hit IEDs, suicide, this, that, and the third. I'll be a goddamn, you know what I mean? Like, I would be doing them a fucking disservice because those are some of the best men I've ever met in my life. I'd be doing them an absolute disservice if I allowed myself to just come up short. And that's my driving force. And it sounds corny as shit, but that's really all it is, hey, as long as I can do well in life and live good, they will never be forgotten. Because it's at the end of the day, somebody remembers them, and that somebody will always be me. I will always keep pushing forward. I will always keep, you know, the likes of, I'm not going to name them, but everyone who's passed away in conflict, and that's just how I live my life. And I can't expect a lot of people to have that kind of mindset when it comes to things like that. But I'm also not ignorant.
Awesome.
I'm not ignorant to the fact that there was a lot of shit put in place to keep people from doing what they need to do. But I'm on a whole different wavelength of where I'm at in life and what I'm trying to accomplish, because I'm living outside of myself. I have to make sure those boys are represented.
You're for yourself,
through me.
but you're also selfless. Like, you're for yourself, but are also selfless.
Well, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Everything you do,
their memories
you do it
have
for
to be,
you, but you also do it for others. So you do it for yourself, but are also selfless.
I can't live like a piece of shit and then say rest in peace.
I couldn't
Edge.
do it.
I can't do that. I can't live like a piece of shit and say rest in peace, Cabacoy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I can't do
yeah.
that. It doesn't make sense. I have to do what I have to do to make this shit work, because those dudes can't do it for themselves anymore because they gave the ultimate sacrifice. And that's
how dare you be
corny.
Motivational.
It's corny, but I wake up every day and that's what drives me.
How dare you bring that motivational in here, buddy? I appreciate you.
I know it sounds corny as
appreciate
shit.
you. No,
like,
it doesn't sound corny at all. Knock it off. It is moving.
It sounds real.
It's moving. It's heartfelt. It's from way down deep, and I appreciate that.
So
those dudes
it's
like
real.
left an imprint on
That's
my
the
life,
thing.
and I can't sit here in front. If I fail, to me that means like they failed because I
Yeah.
ran across them because they were like Cabacoy, one of the coolest dudes I've ever met, passed away. Edge, one of the oldest dudes I've ever met, great man, passed away. And it's just like, yo, fam, like if I can't live my life to represent how great, like how good of a like humans they were, I'm fucking up. Point blank, period. And I'm not going to sully my dead buddies' names. You know what I mean? I'm not. That's just one thing I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
And with that, it comes with you're not going to disrespect me neither, because then you're disrespecting them. It's a whirlwind of horseshit that I've come up in my mind to drive me to do what I need to do in life. But we out here. Yo, facts, Slim.
We have
you
to
already
be.
know. Slim, you already know. Like we got it.
Yeah.
Nah, that shit's crazy. Like if I die, I would hope the people I've touched, like Fakey. I hope he lived a good life, and he'd be like, "Yo, Pop Tart was telling me this. I'm gonna do right." I would hope so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, when me and you, we only connected through a mutual acquaintance of ours that's also a 10th Mountain veteran. And I remember, I'm like, because you were like, "Oh, dude, you're a streamer, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Yeah." So, like, I jumped in your stream and I'm like, "Bro, what's your upload and download?" Like, I started working on how to figure out your, damn them for playing the sexy sax. Y'all can't hear it. I can hear it, though. And
I saw sexy sex, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
it's something from I got an OBS up, so all my Twitch stuff still comes through my headset. You just can't hear it on stream.
Climb to glory, Reaper.
There you go.
Crazy.
And like this friendship started out of me wanting him to be better, because once he told me what he had going on at his house, first off, I got extremely jealous because I hate my internet here. And then the next thing was okay, how can I make his stream better? Because I see what he's trying to do. So, that's how our relationship started. And that's how it's going to continue further on for the rest of life. Like, I will never, the only way I can ever fall out of contact with him is if I decide to go live on a mountaintop somewhere and have zero technology. He might try to come find me, but that's the only way that, like,
we know
there
how.
would be a disconnect. But, other than that, it's, it's sad that people are, I think everything comes down to being selfish and not selfless. Everything in this world comes down to selfishness as opposed to selflessness, okay? You're being selfish when you make fun of women in gaming. You're being selfish when you're being prejudiced or racist or misogynistic or anything like that. You're being selfish, and not in a sense of like anything other than you're being selfish because you're hoarding your opportunity to move forward, as opposed to being selfless, which is not only helping yourself move forward, but your fellow brother and sister or your fellow friends or a mutual acquaintance of yours. That is what really needs to become
Odin. Thank you, brother.
Odin dropping it.
Now here.
That's where it comes down to, is it's stop. I mean, dude, Root, let's talk. I got to put him on blast. My boy Savage, right? My boy Savage is one of the most selfless freaking people that I have met on Twitch to date, outside of my boy Pop Tart and everybody else. Like, he's, for his community, this man will go and he'll stay up and he'll teach you Tarkov. He gives subs in my Twitch chat. He knows I can't afford it, but I do my best because I try to hit him with those memes that make him laugh, Right
now he's got 9 people just sitting in a chat talking.
There you go. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the only reason I have the PC that I have right now is because he decided to be generous and help me get my motherboard.
Thank you, Lazy. Appreciate you.
Well, he also works with that one charity there. I don't know if he can advertise or not.
I don't know about it, so I'm not gonna.
He works with another vet, and they.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, the other vet has his own charity where he provides gaming PCs to
Thank you.
disabled veterans or veterans with PTSD so that they can interact with the community again, so that they don't feel isolated, they don't feel alone, and they can do it on their terms. If they want to get involved with somebody, they can. If they don't, they don't. But he's building these guys one-off amazing PCs.
Amazing
PCs.
Like no bullshit.
Like, I appreciate you, brother.
I don't want to say like no dollar not spent, because of course, you know, there's affordability, but within there is a spec versus dollar amount that he doesn't, you know, he won't go buy the cheapest parts just to get that veteran a PC. He will make sure it is quality before it's mailed out.
And the custom made parts, like they had a guy who was into, I don't know, some zombies or something. So they made a clear PC with bloody handprints coming down the side, with raindrops that go by the fan that look like blood splatter. I mean, the guy goes all out. Everything is one off. So Savage got involved with him to help promote this because he has the vet community. Didn't ask for a dime. Didn't ask for anything out of it. Got his entire community involved with it. You know, he wants to see people get better. Shit, we play Valheim, and one day I had to log off. I get up early to go to work at 3 a.m. It's like, dude, I can't put a roof on. Can you hook me up? Just put a roof on it tonight? Yeah, sure. I get on in the morning. Dude completely rebuilt my building for me. I was just like,
well, look at how the extent, like we obviously figured out the trouble that I was having logging into the server, but look at the extent that he went just to get, because I was the only one having trouble. I was hey, I got a hype train that love over there. That's what's up, boys. Hell yeah, keep it going. I want to see a hype train level 2.
He's past that.
Oh, I don't have his chat open. So, all right. Well, then I want to see Top Dog level 5. Go big or go home. We need to happen. But it's like, you know, and I'm the same way. There's multiple people. There's multiple streamers that I've helped having technical issues, because I started out only being able to play stream in 480p with a 900 kilobyte upload speed, and I was still playing PUBG Mobile, and I got affiliate in like 6 or 8 days.
Dougie, thank you.
So, you know, I've come from the humble.
What's going on right now?
Blowing them up, man.
Yo, it needs to be fire. More.
Hey, hold on, everybody.
He's got like 12 subs.
Yeah, I'm gonna start popping off guns.
Look, I appreciate you all, man.
Let's go.
God damn it, it's Liddy. Jesus,
that's what's up.
Appreciate y'all. Yeah. And can I just say one thing? This has been one of my favorite. This is my favorite podcast.
I love this podcast. You mean this episode or the entirety of our podcast?
No, this fucking episode, because we've covered a lot.
You said that last episode, though.
You
said the community. You said the community. Listen, I'm gonna put you on Front Street right now.
That's how I felt. Front Street. Bro, that's how he said. Put Stimmy away. Yeah.
I get. This is his favorite episode yet. There's always the ability to.
Yeah, there's always going to be another favorite episode, though. But no, I feel it, and I like having the interaction with every. I mean, look, we had 3 communities, technically 4, because we got my community, we got Pop Tart's community, we got Professor's community, and we got my boy Savage's community in here hanging out. So I mean, like, this is a collaboration of people. That's just like, what's up?
Thank you, Ray.
Look at you.
Yeah, I only have like 3 friends. So.
Technically he has 4, but he doesn't like to recognize me.
Who?
I'm like that dude way off in the hill. Be like, yeah, I know all y'all, but there's that straggler back there. I don't know what the hell his name is, but he back there somewhere doing something. So.
Hey, hippies. He said 10 subs and 1,500 bits.
No, I didn't know I was going to be doing a podcast with Hannah Gadsby tonight.
Sub the Savage Pop Tart only fan.
Yeah, yeah, man. Nah, he gets the whole thing. You feel me? He gets to see the Savage in rare form out the silver wrapper. You feel me? No, but these are. Oh nah, see he on that bullshit now.
Anyway, you want to see that?
He's not a. I can't say that, because then I'd be demographing. But we all know where I was going with it.
No, but guys, let's just think about it. We just covered topics that people are too afraid to touch, No one wants to address sexism in the gaming community. Like, let's
No
keep it
one.
a whole 1,000.
People do. They're afraid to address it.
They bitch
They want
made.
to,
They're
but
not
they're
us.
afraid. Yeah.
That's it. Like, say what you will. I'm sorry, but if you continuously see injustices, especially like things happening to females, because like, let's keep it a buck. As a man, what's your
Stand
first
up.
thing in mind? What's your first thing in mind when you see a woman in distress? It may be played kind of.
That's somebody's mom. That's somebody's wife. That's somebody's sister. You know,
You got to be careful with that now.
I mean, we're not white.
I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man, right?
You ain't shit.
that's
So
fine.
you're
But when
gonna
this
get the
dude's
woman
sitting
that-
there beating your ass, do you want me to step in and help, or you
Well,
want me to
that's
let him
where
beat
it's
your
slippery.
ass?
Hey, what do you want? You want to be equal?
I will.
Right?
I will take. Yeah, but I will take.
Right.
I will
When
take
we-
that
when we're talking
social
about
warrior beating before I
equality,
allow anybody
mean,
to get their ass beat.
We're not
Period.
talking about physically. We're talking about the gaming community.
No, but I just think a woman shouldn't be treated any differently because she's.
But
A
is
female
it a
gamer.
quote unquote man's responsibility to step in and save her?
No.
Yeah, if it's no, there's no.
No.
I would say it's
I love
everybody's
stirring shit up.
responsibility.
No.
Yeah,
it is.
Thank
It
you.
is
it's everybody's
it is a-
responsibility
Thank you.
to
Yeah,
make
it's
sure
everybody's
that every
responsibility.
gamer, regardless of gender, creed, race, sexuality, or whatever else isms we got, everybody has the same opportunity to have a good
Yeah,
fucking
it's-
time.
I would have
It's
accepted
societal.
the answer community, but that was
Yeah.
everybody was.
It's societal.
And I would say when it comes
It's
to
a-
gaming and everything being, male dominated with gaming,
Dude, I don't know,
talking
man.
going to
I know
stop.
some females that shit get in Tarkov.
Oh, no,
like
no, no, I love women
And
that
that's
look like
fine.
they
I'm
can beat
saying,
my
like
ass.
Sigma. I watch her
Population-wise.
play.
I'm saying
You know.
population wise.
Yeah.
So more times than not, it's going to come down to a male to step in and say something, especially when it's other guys doing it, because they might give you shit, but that
That
shit
guy
you
rude.
can take and
You're in here. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
roll with the punches. So
Oh, look, my Steam needs to
Absolutely.
restart. Yay.
I don't know if that sounds good or bad, like a
Look,
Windows update.
hey, look,
but-
hold on. We just hit level. We just crushed level 5. Thank you all. God damn it.
That's what's
Yo,
up, Chad. That's what's up.
yo,
Hell yeah.
That's crazy. Appreciate you all. Thank you. But no, I appreciate everybody that showed up tonight to have these conversations because it's something
You
a
know
lot
what-
of people don't want to touch. Like that's
You know
a
what the
fact.
best part about it is? Nobody really raised a voice and got angry at all.
There's no reason to. We're all respectable gentlemen out here. You know what I mean?
I know, but out there in society, everybody feels the need to scream and yell and get angry to get their point across. We just did it for the last 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 8 seconds and counting without people getting butt hurt.
It's only because you ain't reading his chat.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm reading chat and I'm good. I ain't offended at all. But dude, it takes a lot to offend me. It comes down to speaking ill about suicide. That's my trigger. Everything else, dude, I'm non-stick.
Hey,
now.
Rude. Bro, when you got this like on a time release, like is that what we're doing?
He might. He got the auto button now.
He's
to
like,
that
hold
point,
these.
Pando, I feel like that sort of compassion, I guess, if you want to call it, should be spread across many things within the gaming community, like calling stuff cancer. Like people actually lose loved ones to cancer, and but it's common in the gaming community to call stuff like, "Hey, that gun's cancer," or stuff like that.
I had to take my hat off. He's killing me right now.
I feel that.
And
I can see, but that's to
Thank
me.
you.
It's
That guy
perspective
Rude.
because to me that just sounds like trash talk. But I can see how it could be offensive to people,
I mean,
and I
but
appreciate.
it's that's where the line gets blurry. But at the same time, you're gonna feel that way about someone saying something about suicide. Other people are gonna other people may not actually feel that about suicide, but they may feel about the cancer subject or
Land this plane.
Now,
other stuff.
So here's the other thing though. Like, if somebody were to that gun's cancer, and you say, "Well, my mom died of cancer," you know, are you now being toxic because now you're trying to make that person feel bad because of something that they said that offended you but didn't offend them?
Thank
I
you,
mean,
that guy, Root.
Now,
I appreciate you.
I'll dive
I-
into this one just a little bit.
I wouldn't say that makes you toxic. I mean, you pointing out that it affects you and making someone else show that it hurts you.
So
it isn't toxic. That's showing. That's literally a consequence in that case, right? You're showing the effect it has on you.
So the one thing that I'll dive into this one just a little bit, Arn, is because I'm actually someone who's had cancer. And not a whole lot of people know it. And I ended up getting it back in 2013. Thyroid cancer, removed the whole thyroid, all kinds of crazy bullshit along with that. Because of that style of that I had and because of what all happened, I can never be classified as being in remission or cancer-free because of how aggressive it was and how bad it was.
Right.
Now, I will say, at the beginning, when I was playing games and somebody would say, oh, that gun's cancer. Yeah, within the first, I want to say maybe year to 2 years of me dealing with that, yeah, that was something that would upset me quite a bit. I'd be like, yo, let's not use that word,
Right.
just politely and such. Like, please don't say that because it would remind me of what's too real at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, that was back in 2013, 2014. This is 2021.
Right.
Yeah, I've dealt with that. I've understood what's happened. I know what I get to live with for the rest of my life on this. And if somebody wants to use that word, okay, I more or less shrug it off nowadays because I will say it's not as fresh for me. It's something
So you grew calluses for the word.
Yes.
You're no longer soft because it wasn't like when it started and you had it and whatever, it was a soft and it was a sore subject, and now you've grown tougher skin about it, so you don't allow it to affect you anymore. I mean, dude, my grandmother died of leukemia. My grandfather had cancer, beat it, didn't want to go back through chemo, went into his garage and shot himself.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
let me put some solidarity into this there with you.
Yeah, I'm
Renegade.
kind of just there.
This is I'll be for real. I don't take my shirt off in public. Even when I go to the beach, go to the gym, go to the pool, I don't do it. There's 2 reasons. One, I had a girlfriend stab me 13 times in the back. Whole nother story. But the cancer thing. How many dudes do you know have had breast cancer?
I've heard of it, but I've never.
How many dudes do you know that
Apparently,
had it
I know one now.
twice?
None for twice. I know
here's some,
one
here's
guy
some
that
TOS
had it
for you. All right.
Boop! Hit that button quick. Hey, man, I appreciate
Gone.
you sharing.
There ain't nothing there.
Yeah,
That is just rib meat. Booby,
it's rib.
meat.
Mhm.
It's gone.
Well, thank you
Twice.
for being
I feel your
amazing and
cancer
awesome,
shit.
even though you're still an asshole. I appreciate you. 100%. You couldn't be otherwise, though. You couldn't be.
And
Boobies!
There might
Wait,
be.
hold on. I got this. Have y'all seen Root's titties?
Oh, I've seen them titties.
I'm just saying.
the
But
only
Pop-Tart
one
doesn't
guy
even know what to do.
No, I've just never
Yeah.
met a man that had breast. Like
I've heard of it, but I've never met a man.
Twice.
And the only reason why I met another guy that had breast cancer was because he was sitting next to me in the other bed
In chemo or in the hospital?
in the hospital after
Okay.
surgery.
Right.
He was in bed 2 and I was in bed 1, and we got to talking. And yeah, it's something that's real. It's not as high as a statistic as other styles of cancer, but it's a real thing.
So that's actually why I'm not in the Coast Guard. So right after boot camp, I went to my first station, and I was Well, right before boot camp, I had my first surgery. I had it in May, and I went in June. I was cleared. I wasn't feeling well in October. I wound up having my second surgery and was found unfit for sea duty. So I actually was discharged in May of the following year. Medical, full, honorable, everything's fine, but
Right.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Is it irresponsible on my part to not even know that this was a thing? Like I feel like I should, but
you know,
it's
No,
terrible when
because
anybody
it's
gets
not-
cancer.
It's not as well talked about or known, and because I believe that there's too many people that put a stigma around it. In all honesty, I really do, and it's because it's weird that you'll hear about one person having breast cancer, and you're like, oh, I automatically think, oh, that's a woman, more than likely. No, it's not always.
No, I mean we've all got the same biology, just it acts a little different. So, I mean, you can use these exact conversations for race, for sexism, for anything. You don't know what you don't know, right? I'm not going to sit there and be like, Pop-Tart, you fucking asshole. How did you not know this?
How dare you not know?
You don't know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the shit you've been through. You don't know the shit I've been through. You learned something today, right?
Yeah.
I learned a lot of things today, not going to lie.
And that's where I think that when it comes down to it at the end of the day, you have to take stereotypes and throw them out the door. And you have to take any kind of, predisposition on a thought, a style, or whatever that you have for another person and throw it out the window until you meet them and you talk to them and you see what is going on, what they've been through, what they've lived through, before you can even begin to think of any kind of judgment stuff. And I know I'm as guilty as probably the next person are in using a stereotype to think, having a stereotype pop in your head, go, that might be true in this particular case or something, for whatever you're coming across in your day-to-day life. But the key is to not use that negatively and to recognize when you've used the stereotype and recognize that I should probably not do that and move forward. And because that's also part of it.
One of the biggest issues with today's society, and I'm going to call out the younger generations, the millennials and the Zs, y'all fuckers need to get your heads out of your asses. All right. There's a lot of people out there in the world that have been doing them for a long time. And if you don't understand us, rather than tell us you need to cancel everything there is about us, fucking ask us some questions. Maybe
don't be just okay
we'll
boomer.
Teach you something.
I will fucking hit you in the mouth.
We had a guy at work the other day wore an okay boomer shirt. I walked right up to him like, listen, I'm not even a boomer. I'm 2 generations past that. But motherfucker.
Yeah.
You ignorant motherfucker.
Hope you know the youngest millennials are mid-20s now, so
I mean,
I just want to let you know that they changed the goddamn dates, and I am not a millennial.
I mean, it
I'm
depends on who you look
right
at
the fuck
it,
now.
but it's early to mid 80s, depending on which definition you use.
Millennials were born between 1981 and 1994.
Again, they changed the date. So
the latest ones, if you look at the ones, the latest shift it had is 85 to 96. That was everything after that's strongly Gen Z. And in 96, you're talking now someone's 25. So,
hey man, I'm just young and handsome. You feel me? Hey.
So let me ask you, you guys here, for completely side topic. How did you feel when the day came around that you could actually, whenever you would get carded for buying cigarettes or alcohol or anything, and you could stare the cashier in the face and say, my birth year starts with 19?
My favorite is anybody that appears under the age of 40 will be carded, and I don't get carded.
I have actually not been carded. I've had a lot of friends that with me that have been carded, but
I still get carded, so
yeah,
I'm baby faced.
How much longer are you going to do this for?
I don't get carded. You feel me? I just walk up in there. I'm like whiskey, and they're like, "Oh yeah, here you go, sir." I'm like, "Yes, thank you."
Right.
I keep pushing. Now I get carded from. If I shave, I get carded. If I don't shave, we're good.
yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, and I appreciate everybody hanging out. But I'm fucking hungry, dude. We've been going 3 hours and 16 minutes, man.
This for a podcast that we were like, we're just gonna do
this.
This
is supposed to be an hour long max, and it just freaking skyrocketed. And I appreciate the fact.
Check you, bro.
I appreciate everybody showing love to my man Pop Tart down there. Like, you guys are just, y'all are what makes our world go around. That's it. Because you know why, Pop Tart?
Because they're
Say
savages?
it. No. What do you say? You could be anywhere in the world.
Oh, you can be anywhere in the world right now, but you are here watching us. We appreciate you. Stay savage.
That's all.
I've been working on that. You see that? Like,
you should have just cut as soon as he said "stay savage" to the end screen.
Well, I was going to, but I'm a little slow. I had to click out of a video. Had to click into a video. So, Root, does anybody have any final comments before we end this? And let's leave it at like 3 minutes.
I did. Did anybody who showed up have a Twitch page or anything?
Yeah, Root does.
I don't really do much with it, man. I build stuff and I
follow him anyway.
I do it through a cell phone. So.
Follow him anyway.
Just drop that in the private chat. I'll add you.
It's just me. That guy Root.
Oh, that guy.
Yep,
Root.
it's
Roger,
literally that guy.
Because I was like, yeah.
Fun fact, I was actually the very first Mr. Renegade registered on Twitch. And I've had the same name ever since. And actually, I registered on Justin TV with that as well.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
OG.
Justin TV. Holy shit.
And they actually, like a year
CDM,
after they had started as Twitch, I actually got an email from them saying, "Hey, would you like to become a partner?" And I turned them down. Only because I'm too damn busy. I was too damn busy back then. Still too busy to do it now.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Renegade's out here doing the Lord's work with servers and stuff. So you play a game that
he was appearing on a talk show every week for a while there. I don't know if he's still doing that.
That was
Dougie says you're classic. Damn you, old Mr. Renegade. He called you a classic.
Yeah.
All right,
listen, you guys want to do this again sometimes, let me know. I'm always good for pissing some people off.
Oh, we're down. This has become kind of a community thing as of late, and I like that connection because it gives people that voice to talk and open up and release things that might be bothering them, because we want to heal through gaming and kicking ass. Like, that's what Team Panda is all about. So if we helped somebody today, like especially Jenna, and that talk, listen, let her fucking know I'll play Rainbow Six with her any day. I don't fucking care.
I'm trash. I'll get on.
I'm garbage, but I'll play. I just haven't played in forever. But I'll handle business because that's just bullshit.
Are you guys prepared to raid somebody when this is over? Do you already have somebody picked out?
So it doesn't work like that.
Well,
because we're using StreamYard.
Yeah,
and StreamYard
on Twitch.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We're broadcasting to 8 different places right now. So he might be able to if we go into our
if I go to Twitch,
man. If we go into Twitch and broadcast slash but I don't know if it will. I just don't know how stream.
Only the people that are watching you on Twitch will carry over. The people that are watching you on stream won't.
God damn it, Root. That's fine.
Only reason I asked is because we're talking about female gamers. I have a female gamer that I think we should raid.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I'm all right with that. Let me just pull it up here. See if it'll let me raid.
Thank you all for letting me come in and share my little stories and point of view and such. And
absolutely.
Anytime, Mr. Renegade. Legend out here in these streets.
It's funny. Everybody calling me legend and old man, classic, and all that stuff. It's like I'm just out here doing what I do.
The Lord's
What's excuse me? What's the channel's name?
All right, I'll give you the intro. You guys can hit the button. Her name is Tatted, Tatted. Her name is Raquel. She is from the Northeast New England. She is currently playing Labyrinth. She is a Tarkov, CSGO, Rainbow Six. She does beauty. She does makeup. She is an all-around kick-ass lady. She is all about dogs. Please drop her a follow when you get over there. She is just awesome people.
All right, I got it queued up.
Roger that.
Let's get
Good night,
everything.
everybody. Thank you all for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Deuces. Catch you all later.